Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome here to BAOS this evening for I think this is the 5th annual Top 10 Breweries in Quebec. Let's go. This year, we have expanded what started in 2019 with myself and Matthew, where the lights went off. It came up in Facebook memories the other day.
Yeah.
It was a good time. That was the first one when it was in person. So Maddie from Vox&Hops. Then I think in 2020, Uncle Noah from Beerism joined us for the last 3 years, I believe. And
I think
that was correct.
4.
You're right, because if this is the 5th one,
first.
That's correct. Sorry, you're correct. And then this year now, we're making this a foursome. Hey. I'm always drunk, okay? Relax. This year, we're bringing Nathan from NathanDoesBeer and BOS. So actually, let's give Nate a round of applause for his first one. Gentlemen,
be here.
What a pleasure.
Always.
Favorite?
Always a pleasure. It's such a fun time of the year to get together with people that I love and respect, and we talk about this beautiful province's craft beer scene. I've literally toured all across the globe this year, and I still stand by it. Quebec's got some strong beer, strong breweries, and I love getting together with you guys and showcasing them. So stoked to go through these top 10s. To remind everyone, the past 2 years in a row, we had a winner. We've been picking a winner. Before that, we were not doing that. We were just honoring everyone. But the past 2 years, we declared a winner.
Like a brewery of the year when you say winner.
The brewery of the year. Yes. Much more better.
and who was the brewery of the year for the previous 2 years?
The first 2 years were both Sankt Baron in Elmer, Quebec.
That is correct.
Which Nate is rapping right there. And, just want to, the caveat for all of this is that this is our personal list of our favorite breweries from the breweries that we tried. Obviously, there are hundreds of breweries in Quebec. We obviously cannot try all of them. Now I'm in Ontario. Nate is in Ontario, but on the border. So either way, this is probably the least amount of Quebec beers I personally have had. And thanks to Nate, I got a bunch in me, which is always valuable. So I did try enough to have a strong opinion. But if people are like, oh, where's my favorite brewery? Oh, you forgot that. Cool. We just probably didn't have many beers from them. That's really all it was. So
I mean the way. Sorry.
Or we what?
So the top of the list is by putting our top 10s independently with no previous conversation, and then finding the commonality between all of us. So any that all 4 of us choose then become part of the list, and then down from there. And there's obviously breweries like Oval that arguably make some of the best beer in North America or whatever, or Quebec or Canada, and they're not on.
Yep.
Well, spoiler alert, they're not on our list, but that doesn't mean that what they do isn't spectacular and perhaps more substantial than some of these breweries on the list. But it's largely just because we can't get our hands on it, or it's not something that we've drank much of, or at least all 4 of us. So that's why they don't end up on the list.
Great point.
That's a very good point.
And of course, as we're figuring this out, we also needed to slap Noah on the wrist to tell him that you can't put Messorem on the list 4 times. Just put them once and fill out the rest of your list.
It's true. I mean, I think at the beginning, the first draft was just 10 times in a row. I think we got down to 4, and then
got
eventually
confused and started like MES.
I went downward.
I fucking love it. So, okay, the way this is going to work, we're going to basically all of the 10 breweries are going to be listed in no order except the brewery of the year is final. They're kind of more set up so that each of us is going to introduce, probably 2 each with an extra one. I can't remember who it is. I think maybe Maddie, you're doing an extra one there. But the idea is that we're all going to have, one of us is going to be drinking a beer. Sometimes 2 of us will be drinking a beer. And we'll all just say a few words about it. Maybe some of us will ramble a bit and we'll yap. Otherwise, maybe you might not have as much to say. But that's essentially the format of how this is going to work. So this is not like a counting down from 10 to 1. So just to make that abundantly clear, because I feel like don't want people to understand the approach here. So with that, how do we feel about the preamble, boys? Do you think everyone knows what the fuck's going on? They know what
I feel
we're
like
doing.
we covered it. I feel like, and by no means we're experts. We just are people that enjoy craft beer, and we're going to have a good time tonight and showcase, a passion that we enjoy.
God damn it. Goddamn
And a
right,
province
Nathan.
that makes great goddamn product.
Phenomenal product. Absolutely phenomenal. So I get to kick it off this evening. I'm going to make sure everyone gets a round of applause. So the first brewery, of our top 10 breweries in Quebec for 2023 from BAOS, Vox&Hops, and Beerism, and Nathan Does Beer, unless you want to have it separately or you're part of BAOS, up to you, brother, whatever, is the last 2 years, the brewery of the year for the last 2 years, Sankt Baron. Oh, so I guess that's a spoiler alert. Look, Sankt out of control, and there's only so much bias we can. I mean, it's not bias. Sankt are genuinely phenomenal, but all of us are personal friends. I realized all of us have done a beer with a collab beer with Sankt.
That's right.
Shit. That is true.
Right? And these guys were the brewery.
I've done two. So
Ooh.
Wow. You want a medal?
I got all the metal here.
Death metal.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
right.
There you go. So Sankt, they are arguably the most well-rounded brewery in Quebec. I feel like that's a fair call. They're doing now, in 2023, they introduced some Belgian options, like the triple, I think, just like a few other different ones that are escaping me right now.
They did a Patter's beer, I think.
Patter's beer?
Yes, they did. I loved that one.
They might have done. They did a grisette. I don't know if it was this year, and they also did. They do. No, I haven't done like a wit beer yet. I don't think.
No, they did a Hefe. They did a Hefe.
They did a Hefe because they did the Baron beer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's German.
So they're really gone beyond. Their Crispies are out of control. They're doing almost every style: brown ales, porters, like oatmeal stouts, the whole go.
And unquestionably more Westies than anyone in the game. I was looking at their end of year summary, and 15% of their year's production was American or West Coast IPAs and pale ales,
which is crazy.
That's crazy.
And I don't think anyone's doing them as good as Sankt. The Westies are out of control. Just first of all, I know we've been sitting here waiting to fucking drink, boys. Cheers to Quebec.
Cheers.
Cheers
Get
to
that in
Quebec.
you.
Killer beer.
Getting in me. Yeah, and arguably the best Westies in Quebec. I don't even think it's arguable. I think it's matter of fact because one, not that many people are doing West Coast IPAs anymore, and two, the ones that are, it's like they're relearning something that they never did before or whatever, and they just really they nail it every time.
Every time.
It's awesome. I love the return of the West Coast. I think it's something refreshing. When I came home from my most recent U.S. tour, I couldn't drink IPAs anymore. I was done for like a month and a half. I was just drinking Crispies, and I would find myself going to La Canette and grabbing some West Coast IPAs from Sankt, and it was always a refreshing experience.
They're so, the fact that they can make 12 different ones that are all so different SRM, different bitterness, different hops, different ABV, the whole breadth of what they do in the West Coast world is I've never seen it anywhere in any brewery in the world as far as that level of depth for one style. And they also go hard with Crispies too, and they go hard with Haze. It's just the whole thing is super impressive, and that's why they got, I think, the brewery of the year for the last 2 years. But we felt 2 years in a row.
Not. We did have a conversation. I'm like,
can we? Should
can
we give
we?
it? It's starting to feel ridiculous.
It's
a little
goddamn
forced
close
or whatever.
So well rounded.
And I think the you nailed it, Craig, in the sense that Sankt Baron literally makes some of the best New England IPAs in the province, without doubt, in my opinion.
Yep.
There's only a handful of breweries that I'll even buy from at this point because I don't know. I feel like those that have nailed it have really just tightened it up and it works, and they're one of them and one of the best and top 3, I would say. And so that alone is quite a feat because that's a style that takes equipment and takes time and really getting it right. But beyond that, every time I pick up a can of something from Sankt, it's always a treat, even if it's styles that aren't exciting or
Yeah.
whatever. There's something about the attention to detail or the motivation behind producing and distributing styles of beer that aren't trendy, that takes a lot of fucking balls and a lot of
Mm,
effort. Like
That's a
for someone
gamble,
to
financial
randomly
gamble
make a
too.
Patters beer,
yeah.
like no one even knows what that means anymore. And like it was
Yeah.
from back in the day when like everyone was into Belgian beers like triples and quads and stuff like that. That some people knew what a Patters beer was, but like fuck, no one's thinking of that now. So to put that on a
No.
shelf, like thankfully they've
Ballsy.
made a name for themselves. So maybe that's how they're able to sell those beers. But anyway, all this to say they nail everything, and well deserved to be the the top brewery for the previous 2 years.
And
Hell
I
yeah.
couldn't agree more. I
Or
just
they
want to
still can.
shout out exactly. And I just want to shout out the two collabs that came out this year. So we got to do an Australian XPA Extra Pale Ale for their third anniversary in May, which was the first BOS collab with Sankt, and this came out spectacular. It was so much fun doing this. Jacob killed the artwork, even just small details like the Southern Cross on the thing, and just as always, that's the other thing. The artwork is always beautiful and just so thoughtful. And
Oh yeah.
the freshest one right now, I know if you want to talk about this one, Nate.
I was going to give you a shout out for it, Nate. So you talk about this because it was goddamn good.
Yeah.
It was unbelievably good.
I'm really glad that you guys all enjoyed it so much. Yes, so this was the final release of 2023. Was my collab with them called Winter Walks, a big 8% double West Coast IPA with a classic C hop bill of Centennial, Chinook, and Cascade. It turned out absolutely beautifully. As far as like nailing a really classic double Westie, couldn't have asked for better. They absolutely killed it, and I'm absolutely loving how it's tasting. And it was a real honor to get to work with them on that.
It's just the best, man. They're just like, if you haven't tried Sankt, like I would highly recommend to get your hands on it, whether you go for a trip or talk to someone to get them for you. They're just, so exceptional. And like Noah said, Noah, you nailed it, man. Like they do non-exciting styles in such a beautiful way that it turns you onto those styles, like English milds and all these other different things that normally on the surface aren't sexy, aren't like what the kids are lining up for. But there's nothing that they can't do at a top tier level, and that's, I think, what why they kept getting the Brewery of the Year, why we love them so
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very, very deserved. In fact, like it would be a sin not to mention them in a top 10 list in Quebec.
Absolutely.
And there's always there's this question in my mind of like what makes a brewery a hype brewery and what makes people line up, and I feel like they're always underappreciated. I don't feel like people have really caught on to how good they actually are.
I agree with that. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's this mystery of probably marketing and branding and the
Maybe because they came
elusiveness
out the
of-
gate. Like,
the elusiveness of like
Well-
the scarcity was not there yet.
I see what you mean.
I
mean, when in the
So for me, the last year and a half or so, I'm far less active with Beerism. So I mean, previous to that, like it's not a fucking brag or anything, but I didn't need to go out and buy beer very much because I had too much beer being sent to drink, and that's a blessing and a and a curse. But in the last year and a bit, I've been going to shops more often, picking up beers and blah blah blah. One thing I'll say is I'm wondering if it's also a timing thing, right? Like they came at a time when the huge lineups and the all that kind of stuff was starting to fade, I think. Like it still happens once in a while, but hype in terms of that isn't what it was. And what I'll say is any of the shops that I frequent that carry Sankt Baron, they're always sold out within a few days. Like there's never shelf turds where I go anyway, because I buy them. I buy every time I go there. I'll buy Sankt because it's always reliable. Maybe if it's like a Goza, which is a style that I'm not super into, I might not buy, but everything else, I'll buy. And
the
it's
reliable is a
almost
good
always
point.
gone.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. And the reliability, maybe that's also like, because that doesn't make people line up and get super popular, right? Like but the reliability, I think, is what a lot of us are looking for now in a different side of our beer journeys or whatever. When like, you don't always want to roll the dice on the newest stuff like we maybe used to. You want something that I'm like, well, I know that Sankiem's porter, or they're like, even if you don't like Goses, their Gose is going to be on point. Like that is what if you're going to put your money on something. It's probably where you're going to put it.
And they do have a great Christmas beer drop that is available everywhere, where it's like a present that you can give someone, and it's like to and from. Like the label is literally that. I think
that was brilliant. Yeah.
They did that last year too. The
they have, and this is where I'm getting to. Like, there's these friendly flagships that reoccur, which is going to be a thematic, I think, throughout this list for myself this year, is the return of flagships and a comfort knowing that if I'm going to pick something up, that is going to be good.
Yes. I don't know if I'd call it a flagship, but that's such a great point. The first brewery I ever saw do it was Burlington Beer Co. in Vermont, and they maybe say like 4 times a year did this one double IPA, and then like, exactly. So you know that they've got a recipe that's fire, and they're going to iterate on that recipe, and it's going to keep getting better rather than like, not. And I don't have a problem with the one-offs, but the pro on that is that it's not, one-offs can slap or it could be mid.
Exactly.
It can go either way. Whereas like that, it's almost like that marketing approach where you do have, these crispies. They'll introduce a new one, but I don't think I've ever seen a beer with, or hardly at all, maybe just a variant of a beer. But they don't do anything just once, or hardly anything just once. Everything keeps coming back and being iterated on, which is what makes it also extra special, because all of these beers are worked on and perfected and tweaked. So that the next batch you're going to get is going to be better than the last batch, because that's how it fucking works. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, and like to that, to Matt's point there, it's one of those things of like every December, they're going to make Santa Stout. Now exactly. 2 years in a row and probably ongoing, they're going to make A deux. Exactly. Double Douglas has come out in December the last couple of years. Like those things, if you have that kind of predictability to it, I mean, that brings me back to like for beers that I absolutely love and look forward to every year at the same time.
I love that. And I don't know if it's just me getting older, but it's comforting.
I think it is, man. It's a beautiful thing. So with that, Sankiem, very well deserved, congrats, like you guys said. Congrats.
Can I ask something before we go on?
Yeah.
Do I look like the biggest ginger in the world in your screens as well, or is it just my?
Yeah.
You know what today is?
Yeah,
you know what today is?
Bright red. Like I just got off the boat. I'm Conan O'Brien's little brother. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Today is Kiss a Ginger Day.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you look like Tormund.
Literally is.
You look like Tormund Giantsbane from Game of Thrones.
Yes, exactly.
It's kind of hot.
I kind of like that. 24. I'll take that.
You're the ginger.
January 12th. It's today. It's like literally today.
Wow. That could have been more perfect.
Ginger Day.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not joking.
Seriously?
It's a Ginger Day. January 12th, 2024.
Where are all the ladies?
The universe is aligning, bro.
My kids, I guess. That's all I can do.
Well, keep it PG, man. All right.
Sorry, I will allow you to go on. And you better not edit this part out, man. This is the best part. I know you're cutting this up. You need.
I don't think we said this video is not going to be edited, and this is going to be on BAOS, and the audio, extraordinarily edited, is going to be on Vox&Hops. So make sure you check for that there if you want to hear the audio in a more succinct.
Talking about his tour for 18 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was on tour.
I was on tour last year.
Maybe that's the episode.
You've been a band, right?
The fuckery has already happened. I'm here for it. Beer 2. Nate, you're up with this one.
Yes, Beer 2. For this one, we are going to Quebec City. Because this one that's come up, another well-deserved one, Brasserie Générale. And I've, for some reason, my camera's not focusing on that. But in any case, I've got a lovely Saz Pils here.
Ooh, yummy.
Which I already poured out because I was the only one not drinking anything when you guys had the last beer up, and I felt like an idiot. So cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Get that up.
Cheers to BG, another year on the list. I think they've been on the list every year, Craig. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
I am seeing here 2022, BG 2021. I think
like
they
it was
are.
the
Yes.
year that Calculon came out that we
Yes.
were like blown
Yep.
away, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yep, they're there every year. Calculon, I think we did it on the podcast with them, and we were like, "What the fuck is this?" Because I still got one bottle left. Which
It's a wonderful beer.
yeah, man.
Now, I have not had as much from Brasserie Générale as some of you guys have, but I have been there once, and and I have had the opportunity to try a few things. And one thing that I know they do particularly well is their mixed firm stuff. Like a lot of their big bottles, and whatnot with their mixed firm stuff. That is really on point. It and that's not. That's not something that just anybody can do.
Not at all. I mean, it's crazy. The whole
I agree,
program.
and that's definitely what I was going to say was that their barrel aging program is probably primarily why they're on the list. Their other stuff is all really solid, and they actually they killed it in Haze Wars, which was a project I did last year where I put up 6 breweries against each other to make the best hazy IPA with mono hops, HBC 586, that wonky hop that everyone likes to use there.
Yeah.
From Yakima Chief hops there. And they killed it in that too. They put a little drop of lactose in theirs, which is against the rules, but I didn't tell them not to, but it was still delicious. But their barrel aging program is top notch. And another thing that really, really falls into why I love them so much, it's Romain, the illustrator that does all their can art, is just phenomenal. When a brewery has an identity, it's so important.
Yeah,
and you can see that on the shelf right away, and it's a new one that comes out, and you know that Romain has depicted something new, and you know that you're in for another BG experience.
Yeah,
definitely. And they had to basically reinvent themselves too, right? Which is a very challenging thing to do, I imagine. I mean, I'm not an entrepreneur or anything, so it'd be interesting your thoughts on this, Craig. But like, if you're a brewery that's known for, I mean, let's be honest, not being any good. And then you have to reinvent yourself into a brewery that is good and get people to try it and get people to respect it. That's a big challenge, and they did that. And they did that through not to say they were cutting corners before, but like just being true to the vision, and Max coming in and really like saying like, no, toss these barrels, like these are done, like it's not going to work, like just making those decisions that are necessary to make something that's like super high quality. And so the barrel program that he put together is amazing. And their last release, they did a collab with Masorum, they did a collab with Nano Cinco, which makes sense, obviously being the same town, and a few others, and everything was super solid.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I remember I'd heard of them because they had like the old branding was like not macro-y, but like kind of like the maybe how would you describe that? Like, like Boreal or Belgel, where it's like sort of craft beer for the masses type of vibe.
Grocery store beer.
Thank you. That's a good way to say it.
It's like that. That's what they were going for, I think, from a business standpoint. Maybe is try and fill shelves,
right?
But also the branding itself was really like paint 2020, or I don't know, like old, like just very very basic,
dated. It felt dated. And you introduced me to them. We went there in 2020, and they still were in the transition from the old to the new. So I guess it was around 2020 when they changed.
It took a bit of time,
It took a bit. Over. But you were like, bro, this shit's crazy now. So we went and met up with Max and Sam in there, and they were like, I was blown away with the haze, with everything we had. Like the haze was so impressive, and their crispies got really good over, particularly over the pandemic. They were fantastic. I mean, we did this Just de la Bière collab there, which was just such a phenomenal.
Yeah, that was dope. That was such a dope collab.
I feel like that was them showing off, really. Like, they killed all the different styles. Like, Gab's, 3% stout had no business being that good.
Oh, my God, yeah.
impeccable, and like doing even the strong ale Noah for your, which is just like the arrogant bastard inspired.
Feeling willing to do some obscure style that no one wants to drink. The multi mess, and they fucking nailed it, and I loved it, and I drank a whole case of it. Like
it's so good.
I was so happy.
And a delicious double Westie too.
Yeah. From Maddie's, it was just so cool to see them. They were so willing to work with us. I feel like they really believed in a lot of us early on too, and I think that was kind of the answer to your question, Noah, that they leaned into people like us because they knew that we would really spread the word, because they knew that they had a product that we would love based on the things that we also praise. I think that they knew that they were on point with their haze.
It wasn't about just sending shit to us. It was about our shit is good. They're gonna like it. They're going to talk about it. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that was exactly, but that was the thoughtful part of the rebrand, to try and get people to understand it. And I felt like they were genuine though. Like Mac's been on the pod like 4 times. They did link up. They invited. I mean, I think Noah and Matt, you boys both went out there for the events, but they invited me every time. Max always sent me a message, hey man, I know it's kind of far, but or if you're able to come through, I'd love to you guys, take care of you, or whatever. I'm like, man, they're just really genuine. The whole vibe of the place was great. Unfortunately, I went to the Limoilou pub, which was now closed, and they just went back to the original pub in Charlesburg, I think it's called. But so I didn't actually get to go there. But yeah, man. And Noah, you did the collab, the stout collab.
Yeah. So I got to go in and I mean, I was gonna say climb but I was watching Max climb the fucking thing. Basically, just pull nails on all these barrels and just have 50 glasses on the table and do a blend to create a imperial stout / imperial porter / whatever dark stuff we had going on in those barrels, and put something together. And yeah, it was one of, if not the most kind of educational. Was by far the most educational collab. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but all my other collabs, I didn't really have much say aside from oh, this hop might be cool or blah, blah, blah. But this literally felt like I was creating something, because we were blending on site and we made the decisions together, and then whatever. It was a collab of tasting more than brewing, because the beers were already brewed. It was how do we piece these beers together to create something special? And so that in and of itself was pretty special, I think, for me anyway.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good shit, man. I think you're right. That's such a cool way to describe it. You were actually creating it rather than sprinkling salt on it. You know what I mean? When you go, hey, take the photo pouring the hops in the fucking thing.
You go and to take the mash out.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the shovel.
The stick thing.
Collabs are a fun, and it's just marketing, but that is another level. And I think I would love to do something like that, because I feel like that's really how you get your hands really dirty, and the end product truly is something that you tasted and you're like, that's it, fine. And you might be there for hours tasting this shit, trying not to get too lit and figure out what you like.
True.
With palate fatigue on a 12% stout or whatever, it's
True.
It's a lot, bro.
Exactly.
So
sounds fun.
Sounds like so much fun.
I'm in, BG.
It was.
Yeah.
It really was. I had to drive back to Montreal that night, but it was.
Ooh, that would have been rough.
Jeez. No, that's dangerous. She slept in the park.
And I went out after too. But anyway.
Wow.
Oh my god.
You were wilding, brother.
There is a story about that I remember, but we're not going to talk about that here.
No, we're not.
Something about bruises.
I didn't even know what you're talking about. Yeah. Can we say it?
Part I thought you were talking about. No, we can't.
Tell me off air. Because now
the end of the night was also extremely. Anyway, well, yeah, okay.
I have a good memory about certain things, but
fuck, that's ridiculous that you remember that.
Matt remembers everything. He's an elephant.
I live vicariously through you, Noah.
I think we all are at this point. Anyway, we don't want to stress on this.
Congrats
to BG. Phenomenal stuff. Well deserved.
Oh, yeah.
I think all 5 years on the list.
BJ is a great brewery.
It's a beautiful thing. So, all right, Noah, you're up with the third brewery. People are gonna wonder why the fuck we're
I don't
laughing.
even know what we're doing. getting more. Okay. So the third brewery is a brewery that I would assume has been on the list or
I'm
almost on
checking
the
right
list
now.
through this
I
entire
think so, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
time we've been doing this, but it is Bruski. So I'm drinking 100% single hopped IPA that is with Nectarian, which I'd be curious
Nectaron,
if you
isn't
guys have had, or sorry, Nectaron, what you guys have had or tasted and your thoughts on that hop, because if I'm not mistaken,
Love
it's
it.
pretty new.
Yeah, New Zealand hop. It's the best.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's really
One of those other
quite
ones
good.
that's making a big splash with freestyle all over the place.
We're going to talk about
Yeah.
the other favorite hop in one of the beers soon.
In a
That's,
little bit, yes.
I'm already like rock solid thinking about it. It's
Yeah.
it's the best.
You're
Bruski.
always rock solid, though. I mean, that doesn't take
Best.
But
I really am.
I actually had it just occurred to me that I had the pleasure of the last time that I went to Bruski was with our friend here, Nate, for his birthday in
Cute.
Montreal.
Right.
He came down from
Yeah.
Ottawa. We went, and I always enjoy the food's good too, and I always enjoy their beers. I think I think some people see it as a flaw because, or maybe not a flaw, but like it's not to their palate because I'm not gonna say their beers are green. They're not that green, but they do carry this very like heavy vegetal quality. And I guess it's like their dry hopping techniques or whatever they do. I think for some people who are sensitive to it, it's like big onion, big garlic kind of flavors. I'm not sensitive to it, and I kind of dig having those like little elements as long as it's not too much. So I'm getting a little bit of that in this beer, but this is actually I first time having it. It's one of the best I've had from them in a while. It's really fucking good. But yeah, like they consistently do great IPAs. They kind of started the smoothie experience in Quebec, basically.
I would say
Or
in
if
Canada.
not started it, but perfected it early on. You know, it started as a gimmick, the smoothie thing, a little bit, but they're still tasty, and every once in a while I'll have one. They've improved on their stouts too, I believe.
Oh,
I haven't had a
yes.
ton, but yeah, they start going down the like just more simple, thick barrel aged stout stuff, and they're still doing the pastries on the side. But it's kind of like Masorum does that too now, where it's like they'll do pastry stuff, but then they'll have like single barrel wild turkey imperial stout or something like that to kind of keep it a little bit more straightforward. So yeah, I mean, you know, Guillaume and Derek, they're always doing great stuff, and so it would be hard to have a top 10 in Quebec that didn't include them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hands down. Hands down.
I
I
would say
always,
so.
whenever people write me, they're always like, where do I go in Montreal? Bruski's always on the list. They've always been on this
Yeah.
list.
Every
They
year.
make the best smoothie sours, hands down.
Yep.
A lot of people have jumped into the game after them, but they still do it the best. And it's always a funny thing when the new brewer comes in and you know that their job is going to be to blend that frozen block of fruit into this thing that gets sucked into the brew tank. You know, it's a shit job, but it's delicious. The food is good. There's some vegan options. It always makes me happy. The coolest thing about Bruski is the location.
Yeah.
It's right downtown Old Port.
Yeah.
It's also a huge constraint to them because they are renting from the city. They can't own that building. And they literally just opened up a whole new section
Yes.
called Lannex. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Correct.
And that took them a long time. That was a project in the works for a long time. So congrats to them for that. But space has been a big issue for Bruski for the past 5 years, let's say. So that's why the barrel aging program has not been developed. But I imagine now with Lannex opening, hypothetically, there's more space for them to start building upon that. And all of us knowing Derek and his mind, you know that he's all ready to tackle that.
Yeah.
So I love that it's in the Old Port because then there's a bunch of simple beers for tourists that are just going to stop there not knowing that it's a hyped up craft beer bar, you know. It's just a place where they can sit and have a beer and have a blonde ale. They always have very simple beers. All of those are delicious as well. We can't have a top 10 in Quebec without Bruski.
Yeah.
I'll let
The,
someone
the
else chime in.
location.
But before that, the collab that you did with them at maybe 2 years
So
ago.
Brutal
good.
juice. Brutal
Yeah.
juice. They should bring back brutal
The
juice.
idea, I'm sorry to say, the idea scared the fuck out of me,
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be trash.
especially the acidity mixed with the coffee. That's what worried me the most, because for me, when you have bitter coffee and fruit, it creates like an instant like cough syrup taste. That
Yeah.
did not.
That was
It
Derek was there. Derek
fucking
was in control,
worked.
not me.
I
Spectacular.
loved it. Look, I
I
know
love
you
it too,
were.
and
I
I've
know you
teased
were
him a few
picking those
times about
berries
bringing it
yourself.
back. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I picked them in the middle of winter, but
Yes. Anyway, it was great. I just wanted to mention that I love that fucking beer.
let's bring back brutal juice.
Yes, petition.
Oh, it was such a good
Yeah,
beer, too.
that is pretty wild, because I like, very similarly to Noah, I'm also not a fan of of fruit in coffee beers generally, because it like I also get the same kind of medicinal thing to it all the time. Like particularly if it's a coffee beer with any kind of berries in it, that usually just doesn't work for me. So that's like that's quite something if they manage to make that work.
Oh, and it was
What
like
I was
so much
also
fruit, right? Like it was like it was a giant, like a 9 or 10% smoothie or something insane like
It
that.
was
Oh
an
my
imperial
God.
smoothie sour with
Yeah.
a little. It was supposed, what it was supposed to replicate was a breakfast, so like oatmeal, like pancakes with like maple syrup and coffee, because brew juices, I had mentioned, are my hangover cure. So why not have breakfast and just smash a imperial, smoothie sour at once?
Smart.
Why not indeed?
Were you still going,
Sorry,
Nate?
Nate, did we cut you off?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut you off there.
No, it's all right. Well, what I was gonna say is like what Matt was saying about the location. It really is wild to have like such a hype brewery in such a kind of quintessential tourist area of the city, because that's really not typical. You would generally not expect to go to the most touristy part of a city and find any craft brewery there, never mind like one of the most hyped up breweries in the province.
Yep, definitely agreed. I was in Montreal for the first time since I moved out here to Ontario in August, and the first place we got to the hotel and sort of freshened up, and then I went straight to Bruski and caught up with Guillaume and Derek, and they had just opened that Lanex part. They were like, there was a soft opening, was like that day. And so I got to see that, and they were showing me, they brought out a bunch of food that they were like testing. The chef kept bringing it out and stuff, so we got to try some of like these crazy like smoked meat and all this stuff. It was delicious, and like you're right. It's so, I always tell everyone to go there. My cousin comes from Australia. I'm like, cool, I'm taking you here. You need to try real smoothies from like the best. And I've had a bunch in the States, and I kind of think they're better than the ones in the States too. Everything there, their haze is impeccable. I don't get the vegetal thing as much, but they have a very distinct approach to the haze. And do you know what's funny? When I was there with them, I was hanging out with both of them for maybe an hour or so before I came and met you, Maddie, at Meso and Noah, and they were like pouring them for the three of us, and then straight go, no, I don't like this, and they're just shitting on their own beers.
And he pours it on the ground.
On Derek, he's like, fix it. It was weird, but I kind of got hard. But they were like just so like picking on their own stuff, and I was like, oh, I hadn't really seen, like, brewers are always kind of hard, but I hadn't seen them. So I thought it was great. What he was saying he didn't like, I was like, I don't know, this is good to me, man.
I like that, but that's why breweries are most of the ones on those lists, I'm sure, are very hard on themselves, and that's, I think, when you're good.
You're 100% correct. And the other thing, just I think maybe Noah, you mentioned in the intro here, Nate, you might have got, I think you got some for me, and my friend Fred got some others, but some of their bottles, their stouts, in 2023, and they were so good, man. Like they were really good. Yeah, they had a stout barley wine blend, that Mage, I think it was called.
Yes.
Oh God,
that's not try that.
So
that was insane.
That's my favorite discovery style of 2023 was a barley wine stout blend, because I'd never seen them before. Bar-Canada did one. Third Moon did two now. Of course, the Bruski one. So like every time I see one, Go.
Not quite a Quebec one, but Quebec adjacent. Godspeed did one, and but it was with Péché.
Yes.
That they did with Godspeed's barley wine.
Dacu. Yes, I got a bunch of
Yes.
cans from Luke for that because it's so fucking good. It's so I feel like whatever they do, and kind of what you were, I forgot who it was acknowledging like the blonde ale's always there. I think Maddie, it was you saying that, but like everything that they do there is really thoughtful. From the food, like the food is really thought through, and they've got their like bakery upstairs now in the main pub, which is cool. It's a very cool
breads. It's unbelievable.
It's such a cool business, man. Like it's really good, and I just feel like they're good dudes. They've always been great with me. Derek's been one of the most. I think he's like equal first guest on the pod with maybe 2 or 3 other people who've been on the most. He's just really smart, like really great approach to it, hard on themselves, trying to do the best, really cares. Every time I see them, they're just so like straightforward. Like I don't know, I just like them a lot. I just think they're good cats.
There's no gaslighting, which is awesome.
They just do it.
And I remember like the time that me and you interviewed them, Craig, gave me just
when we had that big night, they gave us a box.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was like too much.
But it was like having a respect for something that's almost absurd, in the sense that, like, yes, ultimately creating that ultra clean, crisp lager where you can't hide behind any adjuncts and other flavors is a very difficult thing to perfect. But making an 8% smoothie sour with cream cheese on it and it not being disgusting is also a feat.
Fucking
and like I'm saying it like kind of like sarcastic, but I'm not. Like what I mean is like that's not an easy thing to do. Like creating something with an idea where all these things can go wrong along the way, and then doing it in a way that's actually delicious is a challenging, like, alchemist type thing that guy nails really well.
Yeah. No, very much agree.
And their cans never exploded like everyone else's.
True.
They've locked that down. I think they're exceptional, and yeah, man. Big shouts to Bruski. Keep fucking killing it. I'm excited to continue to get more of the stuff this year and see how they just keep progressing, man. And fuck yeah, get down. Beauty. All right.
Oh, yes.
4th one. It's only taken 42 minutes. Okay, we're moving all right. We're moving nice.
We're doing good. Number 4 spot, I'll take this one since I've been drinking their beer the whole time. It's by a brewery that I love. Ran by a dude that whenever I pitch him any freaking idea, he's always in because he's the best. I'm talking about Kahnawake Brewing. I've been enjoying this. It's probably one of the last ones I'll drink on the podcast because this project is wrapping up. Is Metal Injection presents Vox&Hops' Pit Culture. This is one of the 5 collabs that came out for the Vox&Hops 5th anniversary here in Quebec. I dropped 30 of these pit cultures across the globe this year, from Japan to Australia to Mexico to Denmark, the States, Canada. I'm forgetting some, but that's okay. This was a collab with Mutoid because I hosted the event for the 5th anniversary at Mutoid, and I had to put them together because they're so goddamn metal, and I love that. And Drew's metal. So this is an India Pale Kolsch because K-Town tends to make a bunch of great haze, and Mutoid tend to make a bunch of crispies. It's delicious. It's 5.8%. It's light. It's refreshing. It's like floral. Just delicious. I've been really enjoying it this whole podcast so far. More about K-Town. They make killer haze. Like that's really the top.
Do they ever?
Hands down. Their strongest point for sure. They have been exploring different styles this year. Drew is he's a hustler, and I like that about him. And he's always very supportive of anything that I come up with. He hosted Haze Wars for Vox&Hops this year. I actually sort of built Haze Wars. I'll be honest about it on the podcast now. I built Haze Wars hoping to showcase K-Town's haze because I feel like they're really underappreciated. And they didn't win, but that's okay.
They deserve to win.
We still had a great time, and it was a really, really, very, very hard contest. Drinking 6 IPAs that look and smell and taste basically the same. It was extremely difficult. The palate fatigue was instantaneous, and the one that won was the one that wasn't hazy, and we'll talk about them later on the list, which is a spoiler for people that know who won. And it wasn't hazy; it was clear like this. And the fact that it was different, I think it stood out for people. But K-Town's was solid as hell. They've been exploring with different styles recently, which is something that I appreciate. And their can art is always on point.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it really is.
What were the new styles that they did this year that you were on 2020?
They did a black IPA that they brought out, and they did what else did they do? I can't remember now.
Okay,
But they've been
Good for
messing
them.
around with British styles and stuff like that.
Love it. I think I knew Drew back when he was the president of the Montrealers Homebrew Club, and me and Scotty, my old co-host, we were supposed to judge their competition. So I've been talking to Drew since like 2016, 17, and to see him sort of open up Kahnawake and what he's done there with the level of the quality of the haze and stuff, it's just been spectacular. I feel like their crispies are great, their stouts are great, and the other thing, kind of like BG, I feel like they're just just with the shits, and they just fuck with us. And I've easily done the most ridiculous beers with, as far as
it's
collabs.
always a yes. It's
Always a yes. Like we did the
stick a bicky in it, or
shelf for Bicky, which means put an ecstasy pill in your asshole. That's what it means.
But that monstrosity,
And we called it beer.
Crazy.
By the way, you showed the can from our club, and all you just said was, stick a ecstasy in my
He's
asshole.
digging.
There it
There
is.
it is. With
That's what you look like when you do stick ecstasy.
Yeah.
I will say that beer exploded.
Hours straight, like that.
Yeah. I've got one left, and I've got it in the fridge because I can't leave it out because it'll explode.
I had it.
I had found one in the back of my fridge that had fallen a few weeks ago.
Oh,
Did
you drink it?
Outside.
Yeah.
You need to go outside when you.
Oh yeah. I gave it to my neighbor. And
I knew. I put a bowl. I pulled a bowl over it because I knew, and the thing just I meant to take a video and send you. But,
You should have. I had these ones explode in my cellar the other day.
End up with a smoothie fountain that way.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
I had from this monstrosity one. I've got like 4 cans of this one in my cellar right now. In the warm, and it's fine. But the other one, we did 2-parter collab. It's a longer story that I guess we don't need to get into, but there was 4 teams of 4 beer content creators. So Matt's team did one.
Craig and I won because we have glasses, beards, and hats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you guys didn't play by the rules.
You've been carrots, so I don't know what you want.
We made a good beer. It was supposed to be a monstrosity.
Yeah, you're right. We fucked up. It was Noah's idea to make it good. Well, fine. But that beer exploded.
It was my idea to take your idea. That's what.
How messy was
it
the
was to
monstrosity
base it around that Australian dessert.
Yeah, but you thought of it. I didn't think of it. I took your idea and ran with it. I just want to give you props.
That was like you're down under and all that.
No, it was a great idea. But I was going to say something that doesn't matter. I had a beer explode and I opened it. I had one explode in the cellar. It was in a stack of case, the cardboard cases, and I lifted it up and it went boom. It went everywhere. And then I took the second can. This wasn't a Kahnawake. This was another contract brewery. I took it down. I was like, oh, it should be fine. I opened it in my sink. I got high ceilings upstairs. Hit the ceiling, the wall, the fridge, just all over me. I was like, should have done that outside. Bad move.
Did you then slip on the ground and fall and yourself?
I think about
funny cartoon noises, and
they're referring to do you know what they're talking about, Nate? I hate you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I do.
I had a boo-boo on a podcast one time.
I think it was a top 10.
Back and watched it. You gotta go back and watch it.
I might be ready now. It was Matt. It was the blind taste test.
Yes.
Dude, did you see that? I had my whole gash under my arm. It was bad.
No, I know it was. Sorry. It was so funny.
It's because I was already mad and I didn't know how to press mute.
Back to K-Town.
Anyway, so K-Town, Drew's the man. The Zero Alc, the bridge, I think it's called, is great too. I just feel like they're doing some really fun stuff. They wrote the liquor laws for craft beer on the island of Kahnawake, or the reservation of Kahnawake. That's how important that brewery is to what they've done in their region. And it's they can break the rules because they're in Quebec, but they're not in Quebec. legally, so they can bring in, like, we did a bunch of parties that I didn't even go to, but I organized them. Tap takeovers with Godspeed, with Third Moon and stuff out there, because they're the only ones who could do it without having any legal issues, because they can do what they want. So they've got a really unique space out there. They've been doing events and stuff, and Drew's a great dude. Emily, his wife, is wonderful. She works with it a lot, and I don't know. I just really, I think they're good people great people doing great stuff, and they definitely deserve recognition. If you are coming to Montreal, it's worth a little excursion. If you're coming from Ontario, go there first. It's on the way to Montreal, really.
Always on my list too when people ask me where should I go.
Yep.
It's just outside the city. I mean, as much as it's the beer is important, but you're so right in the people too. Like, I ran into both of them at Beerism this summer, and I got to meet their kids and go around and hung out with them for half an hour.
That's awesome.
It's always a pleasure. They're just hilarious people, and Drew's just nuts and fun, and the beer is awesome. And I won't go on and on about it because I think you guys nailed it. But yeah, it's a pleasure to go there. It's a pleasure to get their beer. Maybe one day they'll be on distro, and I'll probably get more of it, because right now you have to go there to get it.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like 2024 is the year. I'm putting it out there. They will get distro, because I did put Drew in contact. I was sitting at La Cuvé's media event, and I was sitting next to
cute.
someone that works as a lawyer in law, and I put him in touch with Drew. And hypothetically, there might be some movements going on there.
Love to see that.
I'll bet my red beard on it.
I remember that La Cuvée event from 2020. It was January or February 2020. I think it was January.
That's the best. I'll put my hands down and say that right now. That's my favorite Quebec craft beer fest.
Hell yeah. That should be an honorable mention. That's a good one. A bit of a shout out to them. I hadn't been in there for years. Cuvée. La Cuvée is a lot of fun, man. It's a great one.
Chambly, close second.
Oh, okay. Chambly close second. Interesting. Chambly's a vibe. It's and I think this 2023, didn't they have more of the hype breweries who used to never participate, but now they were?
Yeah, there was a bunch of the people on this list that were there. So
hell yeah, I like that, because it used to not be the case, and it used to kind of maybe be a bit more gateway festival, which I think is really, really important. The location is probably top 2, top 3 that I've ever been to in festivals. It's beautiful, on that lake and the river and shit, and the Fort Chambly.
The fortress, yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. So, Kahnawake,
Craig,
yes.
I need to step away for 2 minutes. You're doing the next one, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
I still have. I don't know if Nate has something to say about.
I'm sorry, but anyway, I'll be right back.
Kahnawake, but I definitely have a closing statement.
Oh yeah, please. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Go for it, Nate. No, you didn't have a chance to say anything about that.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
No, I didn't. And it's unfortunate. I've not had much from them in a little while. I have been there once on the way back from a weekend in Montreal. So I'm glad I've been there, but it's been a couple of years now, which is just unfortunate, because I know Drew's a good dude, and I know they make fantastic beer. I just wish I'd been able to have more from them, The last beer that I've had from them was in fact Shelfabiki, which was a very tasty beer. It was not the most attractive looking beer, which I think the
coconut.
Anyone who's had it will admit, it looks a bit gross. And as much as I never had a can explode on me, it's it's on a video posted on my Instagram, in a reel. You can see what happened when I poured it. I only poured it about halfway up, but then the beer just kind of kept on going and then gushed over the side all the way over my living room carpet.
Oh no. I'm sorry, dude.
It's
Don't pour. It's a grower, not a shower.
Exactly.
Don't ever pour smoothies over carpet or anywhere that's not a sink, just to be safe.
That was my own fault. And but
unless
you know what?
Like
exactly.
That.
Desperately trying to suck it all up as it's just growing. Yeah, fucking hell. Sorry, Nate.
The case of as I was able to get my carpet clean, thankfully, but that was one of those cases of like, well, at least I've got this on video and it's funny, so might as well post it.
Worth
But
it.
yeah, very well deserved to be in the list. They're they're a great brewery with great people, and I wish I could have more from them. So I really hope this is the year they get distro, because then I'll just be able to pop over the river to get some.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope. And shout out to Amanda too, one of their main brewers.
Yeah, she's
They're
great.
doing great stuff. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Cryptopsy's beer with Kahnawake Crisp Topsy.
Brilliant.
It's
so good.
Literally one of my favorite beers that they make, and it's not just because it's my band's beer. It's so good, like a hoppy pilsner. We came up with that idea back in 2020 when it wasn't a popular style, and now look at them; they're everywhere. So
Everywhere.
way to go, Drew. Way to go, crew of K-Town, for consistently making it. They make it 4 times a year. It's becoming like a part of the rotating flagships, and I am stoked about that. And the rest of Crypt Topsy are stoked about that too. So Crisp Topsy, get your hands on it, people, from K-Town.
K-Town, make sure you grab it. That is very cool. I do love that with the rotating. I think I have one that's one of those as well with Les Bus. It's cool to just know that bad boy comes back so many times a year, whatever, and it's just around. You're like, hell yeah! You could pop into a store. You're like, fuck yeah. Well, you can't pop into a store, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful
He's
thing.
Back. Look at him. He's back.
Oh, great timing. He got here. Great timing, Noah. We were literally transitioning to the next one right now. So,
right.
Okay, you introduce that, and I'll get my next beer too.
Yes, of course. So I actually put.
Isn't that?
Yeah. Oh. Imagine. Fucking imagine. We're all drinking Labatt 50. Brewery of the year. So this brewery, typically Noah would talk about this one, but I happen to have some.
It's funny because I thought I was.
Yes,
but,
and it was because of the shuffle, the last minute shuffle. And I'm passionate about this. This brewery is a brewery I lived around the corner from for nearly 10 years. And I probably didn't drink it as much. I've drank this beer and this brewery more here in Ontario than I ever did in Quebec. And I think it's one of those things.
Really?
Now, Nate has got me a whole bunch of it. I have to go grab that. I'll grab it in a second. But the brewery, hang on, let me get my thing ready, is Dieu du Ciel.
Yeah.
So, I obviously loved Péché. I went to Péché Day was actually my favorite festival of the year. The regular ones. Péché Day was so fire. Even in, I think it was either during the pandemic or just before, we went to the brunch at Saint.
Yeah, I remember that.
What's that area called again? What's the name of it?
Saint Jerome.
Saint Jerome. Fuck, man, leave Quebec, forget all the names. And it was just so cool. And obviously they're triple OGs. I think 25 years they celebrate in 2023, which is so cool. The Péché Motel is the best coffee stout, I would say, in the world. I'm drinking the 2021 bourbon version right now. I got to go grab it, but I have the first batch of cans that they dropped only in the LCBO here in Ontario. So I haven't drank it.
I want to see it.
Yes, I'll go grab it when you guys take me. I forgot to bring it. But yeah, man, this beer is all I've had from Dieu du Ciel all year. I've got the 4-packs of the winter. I always get the Péché 4-packs. If possible, Nate hooked me up this year, or 2023, and I brought some stuff with me, and I've, Nate's kept me kind of hooked up, and now that it's at the LCBO, I'm even more stoked. It's just the most perfect beer, and I know that Dieu du Ciel do a bunch of phenomenal stuff. Typically, if people came to visit from out of town, because it was around the corner from the crib and because it was such an iconic brewery, I felt like if you visit Montreal, you need to go to the original Laurier brew pub of Dieu du Ciel, and they closed down to expand that lock store. I lived there the whole fucking time. I'm like, they need to get rid of that store and expand that shit, bro, because sometimes it was impossible to get a table, and it pissed me the fuck off. So I haven't. Next time I go back, I want to go back for like a 4, 5, 6 days, something like that, and actually take my time and not rush and get back in there. At the time I went, it wasn't finished anyway. But yeah, man, they're just they can't do any wrong. I mean, the Moralité and there's just a phenomenal, legendary Hill Farmstead collab. Alchemist collab. That you can't go past. I mean, all their sours, their what's the Dete one? What are they called? Solstice, all the Solstice series.
And they expanded that a lot this year.
Yeah, Solstice d'hiver and stuff.
Variants.
Which is so cool, and now just changing of the label, which was really didn't get received very well at the time, but now I think everyone's used to it. It looks great. I don't care. You got to move on, right? I don't know. They're just exceptional. Such an exceptional brewery, man. I'm gonna go grab that other can if you guys want to jump in and say something, just so I can show you what that looks like.
Hell yes.
Sure.
No, I crush it. I know you love them. Go for it.
I'm actually drinking 2015 Pinot Noir barrel-aged Dernier Volonté that I found in the cellar. It's way past its prime, but it's still drinking well, and that's something that I've written about and talked about a lot, is how they still use 341 ml bottles with twist tops.
Yeah.
And in my experience, for aging beer, there is no, aside from maybe Lambic, there is no brewery that's ever made beer that ages as well as Dieu du Ciel in these small bottles, which means they oxidize faster. And then on top of that, I don't know. I guess it just proves that there's no difference between twist top and fucking
the actual
other ones,
like
because
bigger
there's perfection every time. Péché Mortel is without question my favorite beer ever. Drink too much of it all the time.
It's Desert Island.
Whenever I
it's perfect.
Yeah, like in the summer I get really mad and I have to go like find it in stores that have it as shelters. There's no comparison to that beer, because there's no, I think 9, is it 9 or 9.5?
9.5.
It's 9.5, yeah.
Beer that drinks like that. You can pour that beer into a pint glass and drink it and not, feel like it's labor intensive. Like it's just unbelievable. The most balanced beer in the world. I mean, like you're saying, like they kind of started the sour game in Quebec with Solstice d'été. I remember people trying it at the time, which was their raspberry Berliner Weiss before Berliner Weisses were a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And drinking that beer and being like, this isn't beer, this is weird, sour, dry raspberry juice, to their barley wine, their bourbon barrel-aged barley wine, Solstice d'hiver, which is also one of the best barley wines out there. Anyway, I love the accessibility, morality. I did go to the new brew pub a few weeks ago, and it's pretty cool.
How is it? Is it like
it's bigger?
It feels bigger. Oh, I mean, clearly it is. But like, did they use the space to expand the brewery section, or was it to the tap room?
It was for seating.
Okay, that's great.
But they almost set it up in a way where it's 2 spaces. So like, as usual, whenever I'm going, it was a random night. It was like a random Wednesday or Thursday evening at like 7 o'clock. So even though that's not like prime time, I thought it was going to be jam packed. And when I went in, it really wasn't. And they actually only had one of the 2 sections open. But what's good about it is that if you go on a Friday or whatever, even if it's jammed, I'm sure they can find space for you, because it's like they have almost like 2 different rooms with 2 different bars.
That's great, because that was the biggest pet peeve going there.
It was really tiny, yeah.
Yeah, which it was kind of cute.
No seating.
But like, Tiff and I always had like the pinnacle of summer in Montreal was getting a seat on the Dieu du Ciel patio, because unless you went at like 11:30 a.m. or noon or something, you fucking good luck. Like you'd be waiting forever on like a mid-July day or something. Like it was always so tough, and it was such a vibe. It's just such a great place and such an iconic place, and
beautiful seats.
Like you said, no, it's beautiful. And even just having this bad boy in the can is so dope. Having like Péché and just available.
They bring it out and you show it, and like they totally have that here like that. I was all like, wow, it's in a can, but it's totally in a can here too.
Oh, it is.
No, it isn't.
No, because PR told me that's not.
No.
You can't
I told
get
him
in cans in Quebec.
No.
It's only.
Oh, okay. So now I'm crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So I remember PR messaged me. I posted it on my stories because I went and picked it up from the LCBO. There was another Australian brewery that got some distro here, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" So I went and got a bunch of cans of that and a bunch of cans of this, and I posted it. And PR was like, "Wow, that's like what the first Péché cans in existence." I was like, "Oh, wow, okay," because it would have been the first batch. It was actually canned in September, 22nd of September. So I knew this was coming, by the way. I spoke to, should I say who? I guess it's fine. Dieu du Ciel, Godspeed, did a version of Péché for Péché Day, I believe, in 2023, so around March, and it was the first batch of Péché brewed outside of Quebec ever. So JF came out and they did the full recipe, and
kind of like clone, just like straight up Péché.
Straight up Péché.
Another facility.
Correct, and it was exactly correct. And it was draft only, and I asked Luke, like, what's up? Are you going to can it? And he said, JF said he didn't want them to because they were going to package it from their end and then distribute it out here. So he was like, keep it quiet. So I knew from like July. But the fun fact, I had friends from San Francisco out. They came out for a month to live. One of our friends, it was like a client that became a friend, and she works for Pinterest. So then she finessed it to come and go live in different places for like a month throughout the summer. So she chose Toronto to come and hang out with us. So her husband and I became friends, and we I was taking them to breweries, took them to Blood Brothers and a bunch of places out here in Hamilton, and took them to Godspeed, and they had the Péché there, and they lost their fucking minds, like out of control. So I brought him some. I had some bottles here. So I brought them, him and his wife, both of them were just losing their minds over it. I hadn't seen anything like it. Out of all, I told them to go to Dieu du Ciel when they went to Montreal. They love Montreal. They went and they didn't have Péché. I told them to do it and they didn't. And they didn't try it until Godspeed. And then they were pissed at themselves for not having it there. So I'm going to do them a little surprise. I'm going to buy them some of these cans from the LCBO. And next time I go to the States to make it easier, I'll ship him a little care package. I think they'll ejaculate in his pants on site. So I look forward to the spooge.
I have to say that on this list, I've probably drank the most Dieu du Ciel this year, honestly.
Oh, cool. So what did you have? A bit of everything? Or?
I enjoy a lot of stuff and everything, and it's maybe that I'm getting older, and I like the magician makes them disappear. But they're accessible. I feel comfortable. I'm getting older, right? So.
Well, you enjoy a lot of stuff and everything.
I'm getting old, and I like comfort.
That's the episode name. Sorry, Matt. Keep talking. Wow. I'm so sorry.
Props to have kept a straight face throughout all of that. While Craig and Noah were just absolutely pissing themselves.
I'm just messaging that to the group so we do not forget that quote. This is Matt's equivalent of me falling over and breaking my arm on the fridge.
We have to cut that in.
I drank Moralité. They dropped La Petite Moralité, which I thought that I wouldn't like. And
I heard that.
I freaking loved it because I hate session IPAs. But I didn't realize it wasn't a session IPA. It's like a light pale ale, which is definitely like becoming a new trend because a lot of people like to drink more beer than less beer. And if you're crushing 4 IPAs, 6.5%, it hits you.
A lot.
If you're crushing 4 at 5%, it's not so bad. They dropped a smoked lager in the fall, which was just delicious. I can't remember the name. It was a strange name. And when I came back from the States and I just couldn't handle IPAs, I crushed so many smoked lagers.
No shit.
I love them. I can't love them enough. I'm sad that I was on tour in September when they celebrated their 25th
You're on tour?
I was on tour because I'm in a band. And,
what kind of music?
It's extreme death metal.
Oh,
and
okay.
I totally would have been there. I'm sad that I wasn't there because I was there. I can't remember when it was. I think it was probably 5 years ago when they did the same thing in that church location. And I remember I had just started Vox&Hops, and I remember seeing like a media line and being like, one day I'm gonna be there or something. Like I had this like mindset of like envisioning that I was gonna be like there. And I was on tour. So massive shout outs to Dieu du Ciel. I haven't been to the new renovated space yet. I want to go. I will go. And I definitely want to get JF on the podcast. It's something that I've been wanting to do for many years since I did something with Mondial de la Bière. And whenever I'd ask him a question, he'd close his eyes while answering. And I was like, man, this guy's an artist. I want to hang out with him. I want to have him on the podcast. I'm putting that into the universe.
I love that. JF is the fucking man. One of my favorite. I think I've had him on twice. Once was in person, episode 40 of the original series, and it was such an honor because we were so new. And then over the pandemic, it was me and JF only on like this on Ecamm, and I essentially had a personal guided tasting of the whatever year it was Péché pack, because I drank the whole thing with him, and he pulled stuff out from his cellar and stuff, and he's just a generous dude. Him and Layla's always so lovely, and they're just he's such a, like, you're right, an artist, and like him speaking English to us I always value a lot, because I know it's not always easy for people of second language to talk to us and stuff, so I always appreciate it when folks in Quebec who maybe aren't anglophones or maybe struggle a bit with English go out of their way. So like JF is just so cool and so renowned. It's great that it's a great person that gets all of these props, and it makes me very happy, Matt, to hear that Dieu du Ciel is who you were crushing when you sort of didn't want to think about something, because that really shows. I feel like this is a bit of a theme, already tonight, that like we're looking at reliability. It's like,
yes,
we're talking
I
about...
think I'm too old to go and stand in line. I
Ain't
want
no
to go
lines, yeah.
to La Canette. I want to be able to even go to a grocery store. I called BG grocery store beer, old BG grocery store beer before. But there's something comforting and reliable about being able to get something that you want and then enjoying the experience as much as you would if you waited in line and then hypothetically being disappointed.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
I think what it really comes down to, though, is just enjoying a lot and everything, right? Like,
it's
Man.
it's
My
enjoying a lot of
half full. Always half full.
Always enjoying a lot of stuff and everything.
I don't think Nate had a chance to talk about
He did not.
if he wanted to.
It's the second brewery in a row. We're on number 4.
Yeah, no,
we're not doing very well.
I'm just being too polite.
Push in,
no,
Nate.
It's yeah.
Enjoy everything, brother.
Like all of the
Stuff,
all of the acclaim that that Dieu du Ciel have, well deserved, and for Péché Mortel in particular, I mean, it is celebrated worldwide on an annual basis. There are breweries and beer bars around the world that hold Péché Day events like all the time, which is just wild. Like one of the most acclaimed beers in the world, brewed right here, brewed right in Quebec, which is pretty spectacular. And thinking of Péché Day, like of course, like Péché Mortel, triple OGs, as we've already said. But like I really look forward to the Péché Day releases every year, and while some of the 4-pack are not always to my taste, particularly if they've got any fruit in them, as Noah has well documented in the past, the ones that I do look forward to
too much.
JF
hated those fucking beers, but yeah.
But you know what? They've appreciated your feedback on that, and I think they've taken some notes from that in the past. I think the Cerise one in particular was one that they took some notes on. But in any case, no. But I'm here to talk about the good ones, though. But like what I look forward to in those packs, and it's pretty much guaranteed that some kind of variation of this every time. There's going to be a bourbon barrel aged version and a Péché latte version, and like the Péché latte is fucking money every time. Oh my god,
so good.
Nate, you have to please. We need it this year. Hold me down.
Yeah,
think,
I mean, I'm gonna get it every year. So
okay,
yeah.
I just know it's hard to get sometimes. I know in Kevin in La Canette, like I had to message him to get him to hold him for me because the shit was like sell out like crazy quick because it's so popular because the packs are so fire.
Yeah, well, I hope I don't drop my. I hope I don't blow up my own connection here. But like at BrewHeads in Gatineau, which is where I go for it, I've never had an issue getting it there, even if I'm in like later in the day or like the next day. It's never been an issue.
No one should go there to go get it though. You should probably just get it elsewhere, but don't go there.
Yeah, not there. But if you
until
do go
like,
there,
or if you. Or like if you go there, just message me first just to make sure I've got mine. And then
it's
and
at
then
NathanDoesBeer. He's very available in the DMs. Okay, check him out.
Follow at NathanDoesBeer and then check with me before you grab your Péché pack at BrewHeads.
Please, please.
And just one last funny story, which we've talked about on other platforms before. But the first time I met Noah in person was at his house where we did a Péché vertical and we both died.
Yeah, I mean, we're now ghosts. Yeah, there was 16 different types of Péché, or 18 different types of Péché.
I love you guys.
18 sounds right.
Yeah, and the fruit ones, oh man, that no one even got close to finishing that. But we did blend them all together, did we not?
That sounds right. That sounds right. I mean, what I mostly remember from the second half of the night is leaning against one of the chairs in your dining room and kind of like my head kind of just slowly drifting down towards my arm as I was falling asleep while standing up at 2 a.m.
Well,
even after coffee starts.
Hyper caffeinated
Yes.
the coffee at the same time.
Yes,
So your heart's
hyper
racing.
caffeinated. Blah, blah, blah. Holy shit! Yes, super caffeinated and absolutely piss drunk.
Good times. Actually, it reminded me the first time we hung out, Nate, was at Dieu du Ciel when we met in 2016.
That's right.
Wow,
It
a
was
lot of
at
memories.
UCL.
That was 8 years ago. Yeah, lots of memories in that place, guys. It's a beautiful
Lots
thing.
of stuff.
I enjoy a lot of stuff and everything.
Everything too, though. Need both.
So I know that on that on Vox&Hops, there's always that quote from whoever the guest is.
Exactly.
So for this one, the quote's going to be, I enjoy a lot of stuff and everything.
I'll do it just for you. I'll build it.
Fucking Matt McGachy.
I just want to
That
thank you,
yellow
Matt.
writing.
I just want to thank you for that quote, Matt, because that was brilliant, and
It does depict me. We are halfway, gentlemen. We are
halfway. We're at number 6 right now. I'm drinking this with you, Nathaniel. Let me just cleanse my palate here. Nathan's introducing this one.
Yes. So this is a brand new one on the top 10 this year. This is a brewery that over the past year has kind of just really blown up and that I've re-explored this past year. This is from Saint Flavie, Quebec, Le Catch.
Oh.
I'm drinking Doc 61. Craig is drinking Doc 28. We can get into those series in just a second, but a little background on the brewery. So Saint Flavie is.
He's drunk as shit. I thought it was a single.
Did you just realize that was a double?
Yeah, because it's okay.
I was surprised. Surprised you pulled out that.
It's the last one I have.
3 more edibles and then just go with it.
I actually did have a little one tonight, and that's probably why I'm laughing so much. Keep talking, Nathaniel.
Okay.
Fucking funny. Asshole.
Yes. So Saint Flavie.
I enjoy a lot of stuff and everything.
Is on the south shore of the St. Lawrence. If you were to go to Quebec City and basically keep driving up the south shore, in about 3 hours you'd hit Rimouski, and if you drive another half hour past that, you'll get to Saint Flavie. I'm just going to keep talking, even though
Good job. You're doing a good job.
We're children. You have to continue talking.
I'm 42 years old. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Okay,
Grow up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Nate. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Sorry, Matt.
Yes. So, in Saint Flavie, there's this restaurant called Microbrasserie Le Catch. Their location is right on the river. They've got a back patio, which is basically right on the beach. It's one of the most picturesque brew pubs I've ever seen. And interestingly, the first time I was there, they had next to nothing there. In fact, they were mostly serving other people's beers. It was they had the Pit Caribou Roos and and Blonde, something like that, and really nothing particularly memorable. And so I didn't think much of them at the time. But then it was a case of about 6 months after that, I saw Badlands doing a collab with them, and I was scratching my head. I was like, wait a minute, Badlands can't be doing a collab with Leketch. They didn't have anything there, and then I then start digging into it a little bit, and I realized that they were kind of only just ramping up their brewing program about a month after I had been there that time. And Troy from Badlands was telling Craig and I that no, these guys make legit fire haze, and I'm like, okay, next time I'm visiting my in-laws who are in Rimouski, just about half an hour from them, I need to get back there and check this shit out. So I went back, and it is absolute insane.
Okay.
They I would say right now, and Craig will back me up on this, I think they are making the best haze in Quebec right now.
Facts. Unequivocally. There's no discussion.
Yeah, it's
okay. Well,
it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
There's a place that has a skull on it near my house that I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, reasonable people could debate it, but it's wild. They've absolutely blown up with the with the level of product that they're producing, and kind of the market that they've explored, the people that they've worked with all across Quebec and Ontario. They've done collabs with MSRM. They've done they've done a collab with Kahnawake. They've done
Badlands
with
Third Moon
with Badlands. They've done ones with Slake. I'm probably forgetting a couple others in Ontario, but and they've got a. So their whole thing is all of their beers are nautical themed in name. So most of their IPAs are part of this Dock series, as you saw. And another thing with theirs is all of their IPAs are brewed with local honey as well. That's that's a thing that they do in all of their beers. And for those who aren't familiar, honey, when it's in beer, it's a very easily fermentable sugar. So it doesn't usually add a whole lot of sweetness. But what I find is it usually adds a bit of earthiness to it, is what ends up coming through. So that becomes a bit of a signature character.
That, floral mead thing, but just hits
exactly. So that's a pretty signature character in their IPAs. They and Guillaume, who we had on BAOS a few months back in 2023, is a huge hop head and is very big on freestyle hops, and has done a shitload of beers with freestyle hops, which I think both of what Craig and I are drinking tonight are, because Doc 61 that I'm drinking is with Superdelic. And Craig is drinking Dock 28, and we hinted earlier at a special hop that we were going to mention later, and this is that moment, which the one that Guillaume described as the cheat code hop. And Craig, do you want to reveal what that cheat code hop is?
It is Peacherine, freestyle Peacherine. It is easily the greatest hop in existence. Nate got me maybe 6 to 8 different Leketch. It is. The rule is, if Nate is somewhere and sees Leketch and they're around 2-3 weeks old, buy them. Don't text me, just buy them. Text me after. And this was the last one of the batch. I went through them pretty quick because it was sort of getting to around that month age, time frame. And this is fucking.
You describe to anyone listening what freestyle is, unless someone did and I was.
No, we didn't. Great question. So Freestyle Hops is just a hop farm in New Zealand. So they are probably the premier hop farm. And that's why when I say freestyle, it's directly from them. So they do all the most incredible stuff. Peacherine, Nectaron, Superdelic that Nate's talking about, Waimea, Raquel, Moteca, Muter, all of, what's the other one? Another R one, whatever. There's so many. New Zealand,
Rawaka.
Rawaka, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. Rawaka's amazing. New Zealand hops are leading the world right now, as much as
they do a lot of Cascade right now too.
New Zealand Cascade is a total different to Pacific Northwest Cascade. It's phenomenal, and Peacherine is. I'm not joking. This smells like I love smelling. I don't know about you boys. I love smelling the can afterwards after I poured it, and
because all the hops are sitting at the bottom of it.
Well, that's why I swirl it to get most of it out, but you get a bit of that aroma kept in there like heady top of shit.
It's a particular aroma that's a bit different than when you stick your nose in the glass, and I can't explain it either, but I do it.
It
It's
makes
not better or worse. It's just different. I
it
don't know.
different. I feel
Like
like
it's
it's more
concentrated and
concentrated.
like
Jinx. Yeah.
almost like gas. Like there's like a fume to it. Like it's intense.
Mm.
Yes.
I don't know.
I that's a great way. It's fumey, it's intense, but this particular one, because of the peacherine, literally, like those little kids, like fruit cups, not the jelly ones, but like the regular. It smells like a peach fruit cup. It's that like sweet, sticky peach juice, and the actual, because it's a double. Well, it's like I said, I didn't realize, but who cares? I'm getting lit. This was. The body is insane. It's so creamy.
Yeah, it's
Color's
nuts.
And we're recording this January 12th. It is canned on December 7th. So that's like a month and a change, just under a month, like 5 weeks old. And it is spectacular. I would have thought it was 2. Like, it's so fucking good, man. Like,
Would you agree, Craig, that one is the best of the shit that I brought back for you?
by like leaps and bounds. Like, it's...
Yeah.
And that's what you told me, and I just unintentionally... Your favorite,
like it was my leaps and bounds favorite of everything that I tasted on that last trip. It was like, I'm mad at myself that I didn't bring back more.
That's usually how it goes. I would say that Leketch and Nate, I'm glad you told that story because I was going to tell it if you didn't, but that was exactly it. I hadn't heard of it. I saw Troy talk about it. I'm like, who the fuck is this? And I asked Nate, and he was like, yeah, man, I've been there before. It's not, they don't really do other people's beers. It's not like someone that would collab with Badlands. And then when we got that cosign from Troy, Nate happened to be going back over the summer, and you were like, oh fuck. Like, this is amazing. Like, cool. Get me everything. And we kind of just went from there. So for me, this is my discovery of 2023 from Quebec. And I think they're like 4 to 6 years old or something like that. Like, they're not new or anything. So this has been...
Yeah, it's just really recently that they have that like... Well, Guillaume came on board
BG,
like a little bit later, and kind of revamped the brewing program there.
They pulled a BG. That's a great reference, Noah. So like, they want something, but this is just so exceptional. And Guillaume, not long after we were doing the pod, probably like the week after we filmed it, he was out here. He went to Third Moon. I think he went to... somewhere in Toronto, I think he went as well. He was just on a bit of a collab tour. Maybe he went to Wood Brothers or something like that. Like, they're really in that large conversation as far as the haze. Like, obviously, there's other breweries that we're going to talk about that do an exceptional haze in Quebec. Quebec is out of control. We all know that. That's why we do this episode. That's so tough to make this decision on who's going to make the top 10. But Leketch impressed me so deeply. It's so consistent, so fire. Yes, this one was the best of the ones that we got, but they were all just brilliant haze, man. Like, I'm truly...
Yeah.
This is some stuff that, like, if you want to get on somebody... we were talking about Kahnawake, not enough people know how good they are. This is the same thing. Like, they are just so fire. I know both Noah and Matt, you guys haven't had a shit ton of it. I'd be curious, because I know, Matt, you don't think you had anything properly, but Noah, you did get some that Guillaume left for you. I'd be curious
I have to thank Nate twice over for this, I guess, because like the first time I think I heard of them was through you, Nate, where you were saying where I had one of the most gorgeous spots in, well, not one of the most, but like it's a gorgeous spot along the way to Gaspé, and the beer was fine, but it wasn't necessarily like out of this world, and then but things changed and blah blah blah, blah. And so I remember, and then you did all the fucking dirty work to get stuff for me to try.
We did it. We did it together. Okay, I want my props too.
I don't need to recognize you.
I enjoy a lot of stuff and everything. Okay.
And so Nate like did a little group chat and hooked me up with Guillaume, who was going to do a collab with Masorum, which is down the street from my house. So I went to meet him there, but then not only that, Louis from Grave Digging Bros, ex Wood Brothers, blah blah, was there. So I went in and spent 3-4 hours just hanging out with Guillaume and Louis and the guys from Masorum and just getting to know them, and anyway, which was great, and trying different things, and watch them do a bit of their collab. And anyway, like I think for me, and I would like to hear you guys' view on this. They're like, in terms of, the very specific niche of modern New England IPAs, I feel like they're the third moon of Quebec. Whereas in, what I mean by that,
Interesting.
because like previously I would say Messorem is that in terms of like image, style choices, stuff like that. But Messorem has a sharper, drier profile. And what I noticed about Third Moon, and
A little
sometimes I love
sweeter.
it, sometimes it's too much. It's sweeter, it's maltier. It's
Yeah.
it's that like it has that viscosity, that richness, and which is nothing wrong
Badlands
with
too.
that. But it's
Those two
like
do that.
it's like this. Even just looking at the color that you were pouring out there, Nate. Like if you, not Nate, Craig, if you hold that up, like
It's just it's
the Sorum
yellow
beers don't
milk.
look that creamy. Like
No.
not a good or a bad thing, but they're like that shit is so dense.
It's intense, huh?
It's a different
So
kind
much like
of
it's got a
New England for sure.
richness to it, a
Look at that
sweetness
lacing.
to it. It's not to say that a 9% Messorem beer isn't going to be sweet, but I feel like the catch beers are on the sweeter side in the same
That's fair.
way that like Third Moon is a bit on the maltier side.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I
And
think
But
maybe
that's
amazing,
accurate.
and love to have that as an availability in Quebec now, because
Yeah.
not everyone. I don't want everyone to brew the same fucking beers. I want there to be diversity. Sometimes I want a
particularly in
sweeter beer.
haze.
Sometimes I want a drier beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. I feel like they add something to the market. Like, whilst once again I don't have a physical
Big time.
presence there, like I tried enough different stuff in 2023 that I'm like, oh, this stood out because it was so different to everything else. Like Bruski, super different. Like these guys, so different. There's actually a few more. Actually, almost every brewery coming up do incredible haze. So like, Kahnawake. I probably had the least Kahnawake last year. Like everyone's doing something quite different. I don't feel there's like same old haze in Quebec from the top 5 to 10 breweries who are doing it the best, which is what makes it a well-rounded market. And I feel like this is the one that is going to be the brewery to watch in 2024 as far as like that world. I feel like when more people discover it, maybe for that reason. No, I didn't think about that. Like the sort of comparison with Third Moon as far as the stylistic approach. Like I feel like when people start when the hype boys really get their fucking like hands on this and understand how good this is, it's going to change for them. I would almost compare them. I don't know if
Amazing.
Nate, if like you might think this, maybe like Fine Balance, where Fine Balance in Kingston, Ontario are like the one that have been like the next up. Like Third Moon and Badlands are kind of like rocking the shit, and there's a few others, Counterpart and Willowboard and a bunch of others that are Wood Brothers and such. But Fine Balance are the ones coming up that are just dominating, and I feel like when more people understand how good Fine Balance, I feel like not enough people just get it, and I think Le Ketchup the same thing.
Yeah,
Very much
I
so.
would agree with that for sure.
Yeah, it's super passionate about this one, but this is great. Fuck, this is so good. This is so good.
Yeah.
I'm excited now because I literally have not had any of their beers except for their collab with Boreal, which was not made by them but by Boreal. I did enjoy a few of those. They were tasty as goddamn hell. But I'm excited now because I've literally never had one of their beers. So when you make these top 10 lists and there's 4 people that make their lists, sometimes there are concessions that happen when a certain particular brewery is on multiple people's lists and not on your list. It's just the way it is. So I'm stoked for Le Ketch. I want to try it now. So Kevin from La Canette, if you're watching, listening to this,
Get him in, Kev.
Go get some Le Ketch so I can try some.
Yeah,
Don't fuck around.
Absolutely do that.
Genuine.
It's one of those things right now that they don't distribute widely outside of the region the entire year. Being where they are, they've got they've got a very tourism driven market, because they're kind of a through point between Quebec City and Gaspésie and whatnot. So they've got like huge summer business that way, so there's big seasonal dips and like peaks and valleys through it. So their distribution channels, they kind of don't push it as much at certain times of the year. And right now is one of those ones where they're not, where they don't distribute very far outside of the region, but they have previously distributed further out at different times, and fingers crossed for you guys in Montreal that you'll be seeing some at La Canette, and get Kevin to we can put him in touch with Guillaume and get him to push him hard for it.
I'll message him right now. Like, you get
It's
that
kind of
shit.
exclusivity.
I love it. I love it.
MTL
No, I mean I think they
exclusive.
have them
La
at
Canette
multi
drop.
hops.
They do?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Exclusive Montreal. Shh, La Canette.
So
I love it.
we're
I
in
got
6 beers in. Yes, Nat.
If
No.
we have time at the end, remind me that I have a honorable mention
Yeah.
idea that I hadn't thought of earlier.
Okay. No,
Writing it down.
I would like to confirm that we have time.
We have time. We totally.
We
have
always have time
We're
for
doing
Noah
well.
Forrest.
We're
No,
doing well.
but I mean for Noah, nah.
Ooh.
Like I think we're good. I think we're good.
Oh, now he's sad. Now the ginger. Wow, are you being ginger bias? Wow. He enjoys a lot of stuff and everything.
And everything, particularly my neighbors, which have been on the list since they opened every single year. Talking about melon, just killing it.
Killing
I
it.
don't know how the crispiness of it all is just so goddamn good. Talking about light haze, they crush that. So goddamn refreshing to have a brewery that has their own identity right out of the gates. I think it's so interesting to watch people develop an idea and then just pursue it and then nail it to perfection right from the get-go. They want easy drinking beers, and that's what they're doing. Delicious, so much fun. They just went on this pilgrimage
I was about to ask you.
and I'm drinking. They started a new series because of this pilgrimage, and I'm crushing this now. I have no idea how to pronounce this. An Immer Natural Rub. It's a very
German, I guess.
German beer. It sounds like it's a color beer. Basically,
these things.
yes, the
I thought it was racist, bro. It's a little racist.
The Immer Natural Rub. I like natural rubs too. It's a color beer, basically a table beer.
I really do love stuff and everything.
Oh, Maddie's on fire tonight.
I think it's 4.8%. I had a few yesterday, and I'm enjoying this one.
What's the style? Is it a Hellas or
Very.
something?
It is a color beer.
Oh, a Kelly beer. Nice.
Yeah, it's
a
a
little
table beer.
opaque. Fuck
Delicious. Just
You know
I
who
love going
makes
there.
an amazing
I love...
Keller bear?
Melon?
Missorum.
Shut
We're
up.
talking about melon.
Tired
My
of them.
neighbors. They're doing really
We're already
good.
on M.
I'm excited to see where they keep growing, how they keep refining this identity of easy drinking beers. Their bottle program has been expanding, and I have not tasted it, but everything that I've seen looks super interesting. And I'm excited to see where they go. They're a young brewery, so there's a lot of breweries that, sadly didn't make it throughout the follow-up after the pandemic, and they opened during the pandemic, and they seem to be striving. So I hope that they keep pushing through.
I like melon a lot. I wish they had a wider distro outside of the pub itself, because I would probably drink more of it. But
Yeah.
every time I've gone, I've had a really good time. I like the vibe of the spot, the area, which is your area, Matt. I don't know. I've gone on a few dates there. I've gone with friends. It's just like it's a fun place to go. It's easy drinking beer. It's fucking hot, as Craig said.
Damn right.
And they're really all about the kind of contemporary notion of like balance and rediscovering balance in beer. I mean, we all love our haze and all these things, but those are beer styles that in theory aren't known for their balance. It's more the intensity and then finding balance within that intensity. But what Melon seems to do is very clean, very easy drinking, generally speaking. Like, I don't even, aside from maybe like some big stouts, I don't think they often do double IPAs or high ABV beers. It's always pale ales,
the 7%,
IPAs.
that is like the max.
Yeah, that's where they're
from what
pushing
I've
it.
seen.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
But everything's clean, well done, simple, and I enjoy that. It's rare that I'll have something from them that I don't think is solid. Everything that I've drank on tap there has been great.
Yeah.
It's true. There's one thing that I had that I didn't enjoy, and I brought it back to them, and then they pulled it from the line. And the next time I went, they pulled it. They had pulled it from the line. So,
All right. So
which is
like
another
they
great thing too.
took that feedback seriously. That's on brand.
Yeah.
Like David and Alex are such good dudes, man. I went down in August. That was one of the places that was on my list to strongly. Like I had very little time, and there was only a few places, and that was on my list. So I went down at the very end of the night on the last night, and Simon from L'espace met me down there with Carl, and we had a few beers, and it was a good vibe. So I missed the boys. I didn't get to see them. But I got to hang out for a bit and had some of the haze, spectacular. I had their Luca on tap, like some of their Crispies are just brilliant. I was actually drinking them at Boreal earlier. I went for a link-up event. So I was drinking that at Melon at Boreal as well. They're just like, and they partnered with Pizza Tony, which was a great place we used to go to. It's so smart, bro. On St. Viateur there, which is in our old hood in Milan, which is just the best. And I just feel like, yeah, man, to see what they've created, I actually haven't been able to really, that was the closest I got to hang out, but it was like, I went at like midnight on a Saturday or Sunday or something. Saturday, I think. So it was like I went at like the end of the night, and so I didn't really get to experience that full thing of sitting down and getting food and like spending time there. It was just because the trip was so rushed. But they're just doing some really great stuff. Like you said, Maddie, I was going to ask. I'm glad that you got to drink some of those Crispies. So they went to like Germany and Czech Republic and all that, and got really inspired.
And then I had a few of these. Like I chose this one, but there was another one as well.
I've seen like
also
4
inspired.
of them. Yeah,
It's
they've
awesome.
been doing
It's
a
awesome
bunch.
they're doing that.
So they're so serious about it, and that was one of my favorite things is when breweries in Quebec. I really feel like Quebec, Ontario, were doing it like with Godspeed and Tooth and Nail and stuff, but I think like Quebec with Silo and Milan and different people like that were really just coming through with these fucking incredible Crispies, and it's super dope, man. I like what they're doing. Super refreshing, and they're doing it because they care. It's expensive, it's time consuming to make those products, and they're just lagers, but they're not just lagers, like they truly are special beers. And it's super cool. I like what they're doing with the business. The branding's great. They participate in link ups. That social media is on point. Yeah. The photos, I think it's one of their girlfriends that does the photos, who is an amazing photographer. She's phenomenal, which makes it look cool. I like the vibe. Like, funnily enough, before we moved here, Alex's brother David was our real estate agent. We were actually looking for property in Montreal before we decided to buy out here. So they're just like good cats. The family, David's actually one of the investors in the brewery as well. So like they really created a community and had these big lines when they were first opening and stuff. And it's a much needed institution in the area. And I just think it's really dope. And people seem to have a good time, and it sounds like they're really attracting a different demographic of people to that, because it almost feels like more of a bar than a brewery as such, right? Like, because the patio is so cool.
Totally.
That's
you
what
go in there, and it's not beer nerds necessarily that are there. It's the people of the community of that area that are going there to grab a beer and have a chat with their friend.
It's actually perfect, because then there's people who go there not for the drinks, but to do that, to hang out with people.
Exactly.
And then they have a great experience because, like, wow, these beers are really good. I didn't know I liked beer like this. Oh, this Hellas lager that looks like the other beers I drink tastes good. What about that other yellow thing? And, they'll start trying more different stuff, and they've got saisons. They really care about, like, they've got fooders in the back there. And like you said, no, they were doing stouts and stuff. So, like, I don't know. They're just doing some really phenomenal. It's great.
That's one of those places, like we've talked about before, that are like community hub breweries, and and that's something that's something that's so important. For a brewery of that pedigree to be able to bring in people other than just beer nerds, is something that is really helpful to grow the scene.
I agree.
Totally true.
And I just had like a little bit of an epiphany when you when you mentioned how that a place like that, or maybe any kind of brew pub or craft beer bar or whatever, might bring in a crowd that isn't looking for craft beer necessarily, but just looking for a nice spot to hang and have some decent drinks. When you when you go to a dépanneur, you can get a 12-pack of whatever macro beer for, I don't know, less than half the price. No, far less than half the price is if you're going to try and go the craft route. I mean, in Ontario, it's a bit different with the LCBO, because I think the craft beers at the LCBO at least are a bit more reasonable.
You can't get 12.
We're talking here,
but yeah.
Like this can probably cost me with tax and canned deposit, like I don't know, like $8 or something, right?
Yeah.
But when you go to my whole point being, and Matt, you need to edit all this out. But my whole point being that
I enjoy a lot of stuff and everything.
I think I went to a sports bar.
Love you, man.
I went to a sports bar like 2 days ago, and I think I ordered a Sapporo and spent like $10 on it, right?
Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's normal, or I don't know how much it was, $8, $9.
No, that sounds about right for a high-end Japanese beer. Yeah.
Yeah, or even if. But even if you order like a Bud or it's still super expensive. So when you go to a craft beer place, yeah, it seems pricey. But in comparison to going and getting a Guinness for $10 at Hurley's, or going to a Melon and getting a pint of something, the price difference isn't so drastic. That I think that is what allows new people to explore it a bit more, because you don't feel like if you're already someone who's going out and buying beer at a bar, you're already spending a stupid amount of money. Whereas if you're going into a dépanneur and you're buying beer for home, that's a different story, right? Because you can't stock up on beers like that if you don't have the income for it. So it's interesting to see how like that mortar pestle kind of like brew pub thing might attract people who wouldn't normally be attracted to it.
I like it.
Yeah.
And it's also something I feel like we talked about it with Alex on the he did a link up. We did a link up pod last with him, and being that they're on that corner, Saint Andre and Jean Talon there, which is like right near the station, near the metro, and there's a lot of walk by traffic, and it's very like it stands out on Saint Hubert. Sorry, Saint Andre? Yeah, close, like 1 block from Saint Hubert. Super appealing. There's like, it's busy. There's lots happening. And it's like, oh, this is a vibe. I don't care what this is. This is a bar. There's a patio. Oh, they got pizza. Let's go. Pizza and beer. They don't even think that like, oh, have you got Bud? Oh, no, you're a brewery? Oh, cool. Okay. Give me the closest thing. And then all of a sudden, these people are sitting there drinking these beautifully poured Czech style lagers on a Luca, not even understanding the incredible experience they're having. And maybe then they'll be converts. And like, that plays more of a role in the gateway, part of breweries than maybe that we give a lot of credit to. Like, that shit is so fucking valuable. And even the merch is fire. I just feel like they're just really thoughtful. They really care. And they've got a real community behind them, man. So they have been on. I also think every year as well. Last year, year before. Oh, maybe they didn't exist the year before. When did they open?
I think Matt was saying they opened in 2020.
Okay, so 2020, not 2020. They weren't on any of our lists in 2020, which means 2021 they were.
Might have been
It's 2021.
Or like a year or so after the
that could be.
Kind of thing.
In
2020 felt a bit long ago, actually. Maybe it was more 2021-ish.
Which is definitely... No, I'm looking at that, and that's correct. You're right. It was 2021 because me and Matt had them on our list, because I think, Noah, you didn't get to try them in 2021 as much, where I went down... I remember because my barber was around the corner from there, so I met them through Matt. So Matt knew them, and then me and Maddie went down one day together, and then after my barber, one time I would just walk back. I was like, oh, let me pop in, see the boys, text them and stuff, and just to see how they're going. We turned up on their opening day, so we were like as supportive as we could be... at the time, but then everything was a bit hectic for us. We moved and stuff, so I didn't get to like really experience it. But everything I've ever had for them is great. I remember we did a pod at La Canette with Pierre not long before I left, and Gab came through, and she just went to Milan, and she brought a bunch of beers from them and was busting out like one of the bottles.
Yeah,
like this,
it was
the farmhouse and
for the BG collab.
It was.
Oh, on PR. Yeah, that was fun. We just got fucked up, and JF was there. Yeah, it was a good fuck. Oh, man. I miss Montreal.
I miss JF.
Yeah, man.
JF?
Is he still...
No, I don't think that...
Yeah, JF was there.
Oh, yes, JF was there.
He was there. He was co-hosting with PR.
With PR.
I don't know what's happening with Echo.
Yeah, we should find out.
I haven't had an Echo beer in forever.
I think maybe that they're not really... I feel like it's a rough time for beer, which is a whole other... Outside of the scope of this conversation.
The parenthèse there? Which is
the piquette, all the wine and stuff. Which is fun.
Exactly.
Which is very, very cool. I'm happy
I think
for him.
he's busy directing television.
Yes, he's just holding it down. TV stuff.
I feel like he's doing Big Brother. Am I crazy? I feel like he's
directing
Big Brother. I feel like he
should message him.
Oh, did you hear? Actually, Did you hear about the new movie that he's coming out with?
Is it called I Enjoy a
there
Lot
you
of Stuff and Everything?
Is it- Yes.
No
knew
way.
You asked
You knew it was happening. You knew that.
Yeah, I felt it.
I was
I
gonna
felt
You're
it.
just
never
say
gonna live this
stuff and
one down.
everything,
Sorry, Maddie.
but you did the
It's
whole.
okay. As long
He's
as
not
everyone's
sorry.
having fun.
I'm going to change the name of the chat on Facebook to.
I join us.
All right. I know we've got that was number 7. We still have 3 more to go.
Hang on. Before we move on there, I just gotta have my piece now. So
Did you? I'm so sorry, Nate. You have to bully yourself in a bit more, man.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing right now.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, and but truthfully though, this is one that I've been a little quiet on, because I don't have much experience with stuff from Milan. I've unfortunately never been. That's going to have to be one that we're going to have to hit there the next time I'm in town. We should have Matt come out too. Actually, now that I think
around the corner,
I'm in town.
You guys need to hug.
Yeah, I've never been, but the one beer that I have had from them is one that Chris from Sankt Baron hooked me up with a couple of years ago, and it was a Saz Pils, which I remember being fucking money. So that was really, really good. But as this conversation has been going on, Craig, you'll probably have this reference point more, but something that this is making me think of, particularly with everything being in short cans and kind of trending more on the lower ABV side, with the highest ABV that they've done probably being around 7% or something like that, makes me think a lot of Matron. And with the kind of with the style, with the styles that they they tend towards and whatnot, it's making me think kind of similar vibes,
I'd never thought of
From
that.
a distance, it felt that way.
Yeah.
And that's I think what also interested me a bit because I don't think I've had a single Matron beer yet. But
oh no, okay.
The idea behind
Matron are great,
that
dude.
style of brewery, it totally tracks. That it's
yeah,
really refined stuff, because it's called Matron Fine Beer, and I feel like it's Melon, it's fine beer. It's like a brewery that takes everything very seriously, and they do all the styles that they're doing are just like two style. Very traditional. If they're doing the haze, they don't shy away on the hops. Like they're it's the mouth feels phenomenal. Like they're really going hard on the haze too. Like I feel like they don't slack. Actually,
identity with the haze, which is interesting too. It's like their thumbprint.
Cool profile.
I wouldn't say they go hard on the haze. What I would say is that
I love the haze.
Well,
it's light. It's always
light.
light.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they're doing more.
It's pretty murky. Like the shit is like the last ones I had were pretty but
it's subtle. It's not
punch you in the face.
Catch. It's not Masorum.
That's a fair point.
No, they don't want that. They want it to be more.
Yeah, exactly.
A different aim.
There can be a cloudiness to the beers. There's
it's very cloudy. Like it's
and a very a heavy drinkability to it. Where
yes, that's a great point.
They want you to be slamming these if you want to.
Yeah.
You could get
I can slam
picture
the
of
big
that.
Boys, but when did you say a picture of that?
A picture. What in Australia it's called a jug. What's it called? What's it called in Quebec?
Yeah, no, a picture is right.
What's it called in Quebec?
I thought
Same
meant,
hood?
Picture. It is a picture, but I thought I heard
a pichet. Pichet, you fucking Frenchy cunts.
Le pichet mortel.
C'est bon là. I missed that. I was thinking about it.
That's when you drop your pitcher as you step outside.
Oh, I
you
like
serve
that.
yourself there.
I'll send it to my dog today.
Mortel.
I was like tabernacle, and my dog was looking at me like, "Oi, dickhead." I know what you're saying. Stop it.
Wait,
Hell yes.
What?
We're moving along. I love it.
Okay, Milan killed it. Okay, we've got 3 more to go. This is Noah's turn.
Is it? Yes. Okay.
This fucking
so unfortunately, I don't have an original creation from this brewery with me right now. It's unfortunately a collaboration, but I think it'll be okay. So the next brewery is Sir John.
Big ups, Johnny.
I've been crushing a bunch of those collabs, by the way, throughout the holidays.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Right. So it's almost fun to talk about that, like to not overshadow the conversation with Boreal because we're talking about Sir John. But one of the good things about Boreal and what they're doing with hazy stuff is that you can get it fucking everywhere. Like almost every grocery store, every dep, even Couche-Tards and stuff like that. Sometimes you can get
What, like Nord-Est?
one of the best double
Nord-Est
IPAs
or
out right now.
these IPAs that they're doing, they do these collabs every month, and this month is with, or December's was with Sir John, which is something they did last December too.
That's amazing.
They've done,
and it's killer. It's killer.
That's
it's
so
pretty
dope,
nuts.
man.
I've crushed a lot of those during my vacation.
That's so cool.
It's a double New England. It's one of the best I've had from Boreal because I feel like they're increasingly getting better and better, and I'm sure having influence from Sir John kind of, made it its own thing. I think Sir John in general, what I'll say over the last, yes, but let's talk Boreal. No, so over the last year, I've been drinking a lot more Sir John than I ever did before. Or maybe the last year and a half or so, because previously I found their stuff. I've never had an issue with like the green thing of IPAs, but there was this sharpness to their beers that wasn't that appealing to me a lot of the time. And I felt like either they did a good job with the beer or it was a complete and utter disaster that needed to go down the drain. So it wasn't something that I was going to invest money in because half the time I didn't like it. But then in the last year and a half, everything I've had has been on point and solid.
Love that.
Obviously your preferences of, liking one a bit more than the other or whatever, but, never anything that was bad. And their IPAs are in my top 5 for Quebec, if not top 4, and I'm drinking them a lot more now, and I really enjoy them.
That's great, man. So in 2023, they really, because I feel like I agree with you. There were some times, and like this is admittedly, we had Max and thank you, Joe, on the pod. Such cool guys for Link Up. They did Link Up beer. Their Link Up beer was fucking amazing.
It was great, yeah.
Wasn't it great? And they were admitted, they were like, yeah, man, I don't think it was 2023. I think it was 2022 that they were on, if I'm not mistaken, but also my memory is a brain fart, so who knows. But they were like, yeah, they hadn't been as consistent as they would have liked. So I think they're actually self-admitted to that, Noah. And I found that, like, I bought all their stuff when I was in Montreal. Every time I went to La Canette, I was like, Kev, just, give me one of everything, whatever they got. Doesn't matter what it is. And I thought that was just so dope. And to hear them say that, and I think now to hear you say, bro, that they've they've really like sort of stepped it up and really got hold of that production is amazing, because I feel like they had some of the most potential in Quebec, and they were so consistent. Sorry, they weren't as consistent, but they had the most potential. So I had a couple of their beers, I think, over the last year. Maybe, Nate, you might have got me, but not as much as I would have liked. So I don't have as much to say about them in 2023, but the ones that I did have were just all fantastic, and that's a really good sign.
Over the holidays, we both had a Westie that I brought back from them, which was pretty fucking solid.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever had a Westie from them. I'd like to try it.
Do you remember what that was called?
No, I don't off the top of my head. I'm going to try to find it while we're talking, though.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's very cool. They do. I one of the things I liked about Sir John was going like the hyper breweries with the haze in Quebec were, aside from say Boreal, the Nord-Est was relatively simple to get, and some of their other stuff. But Missorum weren't distributing, Bruski weren't distributing. Bas-Canada was super hard to get. Sankt Baron, we had to plug because we knew them, but like someone like Sir John,
you had to pilgrimage.
We had to plug because we knew them. Is that what you just said?
Have you heard that before? The plug?
Were those the words that came out?
Yeah. Have you heard the plug?
We had to plug them because
No. No. We had the plug. So the plug is the connection, which is like the drug dealer.
Oh, I thought you were saying that we had to plug their products because we knew
that type of plug. Oh, okay.
Because we knew
that's
Jacob.
Why they won 2 years
he was
in a
a
row.
friend of ours. They won 2 years in a row because we knew them.
That's not true at all. What I'm saying is, we had access to their
I'm
products.
Glad that's clear for everyone.
No, yes, thank you for bringing that up because maybe
the plug.
The plug is in like the outlet,
the connection.
The connection, which is a drug term, and we knew them, so we were able to get access to their beers. Well, it's a rap thing, and I understand because you are not a rap guy, and probably a lot of people in Quebec listening aren't rap people. So I'm very glad you brought that up, sir. Thank you. We were able to get hold of it. But either way, Sir John was available for the most part at any dépanneur that I went to, whether it was Vitoun Bière or Experienced Bière or Peluso or La Canette, any of these different things. And that was always super cool to me. So whenever I saw Sir John there, I just grabbed one of everything, whether it was, haze, stouts, fucking smoothies, crispies, whatever. And I felt like they were mostly quite consistent. The haze was probably the least consistent. I think the stouts were almost always great. The haze was probably the least consistent, but it sounds like they've really got that under control at this point, which is fantastic. Such cool fucking guys. I love their branding. I've been to the brewery a couple of times, mostly to buy stuff to go because I was on the way to Ottawa or something like that. But they're just a really great brewery, putting an area on the map. They work strongly with the tourism office in the area. If you think about it, they're really bringing people into that area of Lachute and Hudson and around and stuff like that because of the quality that they're making. So there's people, whether they're from Ontario, from Quebec, from the States coming through because they want to have this, killer haze. They come into this region. They might go to Sir John, but they might go to other restaurants in the area and other hotels, and it starts to bring in tourism. And I think that's just a very cool thing.
Absolutely. They're awesome. They're people that bought a brewery, started a brewery without knowing how to brew, which is
really
crazy.
We haven't had them on. Okay.
Which is crazy. And then they've learned and they hire the right people and they got the right stuff going on, but they right from the start. That
actually explains a lot.
they hire the people, they move things through things. They had a solid, had this green profile for the beginning of their career, which some people really enjoyed. Myself, I enjoyed it actually. And then it seems to have gone away, which is something you had to mourn. They built a bigger facility, and then that's when the inconsistencies came in, I think, is when you start doubling, tripling stuff and moving stuff. And then hypothetically, there's been staff changes maybe. But they've really solidified and come through. 2023, they were the Haze Lords. They won Vox&Hops' Haze Wars. The 6 breweries that were put head-to-head with the HBC 586 from Yakima Chief Hops. Sir John won, despite the fact that their beer wasn't hazy. But I think that it was a great beer. It was awesome, and it stood out compared to the other 6 that were there.
Was it a New England though, or was it a West Coast or just?
No, it was a New England. It was supposed to be a hazy IPA because it's Haze Wars, but theirs was a little bit more clear. But when you're served 6 beers that all taste the same, basically, and one of them sort of stands out, which one are you going to vote for, right? It sort of skewed the vote maybe, but the beer was delicious, and they killed it, and they have been killing it, and their 1201 stout is delicious.
I love that. How's the barrel aged? I want the barrel aged version of that. They had the barrel aged 1201.
I had that once, yeah. I had that when I had them on the podcast a long time.
Hell yeah.
Their branding is amazing, which I love.
Cool.
And they always interesting.
Yeah, the branding's very good. And they also do a lot of branding that ties into Quebec culture and stuff, which is fun.
Totally, like the hot dog one, and they have the miscellaneous stuff in the brew pub that they use. Can art. I'm not sure if it came out last year or this year, but zip ties, duct tape. And you're wow, what's this next can art gonna be? It's zip ties, and everyone would laugh, but they make it work.
There was one that was like beans all over it or something or something like that. I think that was even it
was like beans and Franks or whatever. I had that one.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I've had that one too.
Yeah, that was great.
They kill it. I drank a bunch of them because they're available at La Canette and they're available everywhere just about now. One of that we would not have a top 10 without Sir John. It's I would have fought for that one.
I'm going to double check and see if we had it every year, and I kind of feel like last year, yes, 2021. It wasn't on 2021. Oh, hang on, wait. Oh, we don't have a Okay, 2021. No, they didn't make 2020. When did they open?
I
But they
feel
did make
like they've
2020.
opened-
Guessing before the pandemic, slightly.
Okay, so they made it 2020, but they didn't make it 2021. Like no of the three of us had them on our list. But 2022 they made it, and 2023 obviously they made it.
That's
So
interesting. That's interesting. Maybe it
So
was
there
during
was-
that weird transition year where they were
Well,
like,
I went through a phase where I just decided I'm never drinking their beer anymore. Because I got hit too many times with beers that weren't very good. But I can actively say that I now purchase their beers all the time. I think they started not too long after Misorum, and it was
True.
during this era where Misorum opens, and then all the breweries are like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
What do you think you're doing, creating a brewery around IPAs and New
Everyone
England?"
got real mad.
Everyone needs to do the full gambit of a brown ale and this and that, and Misorum was like, "Well, this is what Brooklyn does, and this is what..." I don't know if they said that, but that's kind of like this is gonna work. Don't worry. And then like less than a year or a year later, they Sir John opened, and what's the other one?
Oh, not Bar-Canada or
No.
Bruski. It's Bruski, Boreal.
They also have like no, they're really small. They have like their branding is like little diamonds that like form a larger
Oltec?
little symbol.
Toltec. Toltec.
Yes, Toltec.
Toltec.
So I think around that time, both of those opened, and they were fine. But I think the hype that got surrounded by them was due to the fact of what they were doing, and not so much on whether they were doing it well. And so it's like Sir John and Toltec and spots that opened up that were similar in terms of the styles that they were producing ended up becoming like overnight successes without being like having to had prove themselves. And so
That's a really good point.
they went through like a transitory period. I haven't had anything from Toltec in forever, so I have
Toltec
no idea
is-
if their stuff's good or not.
Last time I had it was fucking
I have
great.
had a lot of Sir John, and I've seen the progression. I've seen them go from opening their doors with hype, which makes no sense to me because no one's tested that their stuff's any
But
good
Third
yet.
Moon did. Four Origins did.
Yeah. I mean, you're right about Third Moon.
Because you
But
put me
Bebo's
onto
a fucking
Bebo.
genius, I'm
But
sorry,
but Four Origin, yeah, Bebo's a fucking genius. But Four Origins did the same thing, where those two were both home brewers, and the home brewers were generating a buzz in the real community with real people before they opened, so that they were able to open with a bang because there was all these people who gave a shit. And that's what Third Moon did. That's why they're successful, and I think it's why Four Origins was successful. I saw Quatre Origins did it first, and Third Moon did it right after, but they were already both independently doing that same process, and I think it's genius.
you're right.
that's sick.
It's the coolest shit in the world. Was there anything else to say on Sir John? Because I feel like we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. We've still got 2 more to go.
Who's next?
Oh, let's move.
It was
I'm ready to go. I'm ready. I'm really stoked about this brewery.
all right.
I think they're the brewery that impressed me the most this year. I discovered them because of Kevin from La Canette. He's really championing them to me basically, and
He enjoys a lot of stuff and everything.
He enjoys a lot of stuff and everything. He and maybe to the rest of the Villeray population, and I'm talking about Nano Cinco. From Quebec City, they're like under a year old, just over a year old at this point.
Hell yeah.
They tend to distribute a lot of their haze, which is how I discovered them. I've been enjoying a lot of them right now. I'm enjoying this one, the Disco Spire, which is basically a New England Pale Ale, which I'm loving the style. I mentioned it earlier with Dieu du
low
Ciel,
ABV?
this light haze that's not a session because I hate session IPAs.
It's a
There's
pale
always
ale.
something
It's
missing.
deliberate.
It's nice. It's
I
still
agree.
got some body to it. It's still got some bite to it. This is crushing a bunch of those freestyle hops, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Another brewery that's truly embraced the freestyle hops. The color's gorgeous.
Nice.
Just killing it. Lots of haze that they've been primarily distributing. Really very, very good. When I played in Quebec City, I went there before the show and I tasted their pilsners, their lagers. They were freaking spectacular. Their smoothies were to die for. So goddamn good. They had little charcuterie platters that you can order, both meat-based and a total vegan one. And I don't talk about being vegan very often on the podcast, but I'm vegan, and it's nice to go to a brewery and have an option that's as equally as awesome as the meat option.
Great
and
point.
It was literally freaking amazing. I'm still thinking about these cold cuts that they had, these vegan cold cuts that were like made by some woman in Quebec City. I want this contact. Whoever has her, I want her. I want these cold cuts
Matt
in
is
my life.
married.
They were
Walked into
freaking...
whoever has her, I want her.
Noah, did you know that
Motherfucker.
Matt enjoys a lot of stuff and everything? So, you know.
including some a wonderful woman's vegan charcuteries.
He wants her
in
meat
Quebec
flaps.
City that were available at Nanoo. I want her meat.
Her
faux
vegan meat flaps.
I want her faux meat. I'm excited about them. They changed their branding throughout the year, which is another smart move. If you're thinking about like a brewery that's under a year old and they're already examining their branding on the market at this point, that's a brewery that's like on their heels. They're not comfortable. They're not taking anything for granted. If you're like 6 months into an identity and you're like, something's not working, let's change it. That excites me. It's a great brewery. I'm very excited to see where these guys go.
Yeah, no, they are very good, especially for how young they are. I'm drinking a Nano Cinco adjacent one right now. I wasn't able to get my hands on one from from them themselves, but I've got a collab that brewed by La Souche with them called
Nice.
Lou des Sols, which is it's a hazy New England IPA, and it's very good.
Yeah.
Was it brewed at La Souche or at Nanoo?
It was brewed at La Souche.
How is it?
It's good. It's good. It's got more of a. It drinks more as a. Fuck you.
Nate can't
It
lie.
It drinks. It's more it drinks more as a La Souche style IPA. It's a bit less. It's a bit less thick and hazy, kind of thick as a as a Nano Cinco hazy tends to be. So maybe a bit more refined, a little bit more a little bit lighter on the palate, a bit more effervescent, but I like it.
Honestly, I prefer if New England's aren't a brewery's specialty, I tend to prefer when they dial it back and make more of an easier drinking style IPA, because I feel like when you're trying to do the full blown intensity and you don't have the experience or the equipment, I find it just oxidation or all these other problems can seep in so easily. So I tend to prefer when breweries dial it back and try and do something more subtle. Funny enough, Nano Cinco is one of the breweries I've gone to most this year, because I'm in Quebec City a lot visiting one of my partners, Rochelle La Chapin, and she lives right down the street. So
does she enjoy a lot of stuff and everything?
Not all the stuffs and all the everythings, but some of the stuffs.
Some of the stuffs, gotcha. I think that's
she didn't come to my show though.
Waste woman, waste woman, trash.
Were you on tour?
Are you in a band?
I am in a band. I was playing right around the corner from that.
Oh, I saw you in Toronto when you were playing with your band.
You did. You came
Yeah.
on my tour bus.
On
my tour bus.
I came all over your tour bus. It was great.
So
all
did
of
the
them.
rest of
You
the
put a lot of
16 men
stuff
on the
and
bus.
everything all in his side of his tour.
Matt enjoyed a lot of stuff. A whole lot of everything.
Matt
so-
has a band, he was on tour, and he enjoys a lot of stuff and everything.
Just to
That's-
recap,
That's a great recap. Thank you, Nathan. Just in case for those who were just tuned in now.
So Noah goes to Nano Cinco because he has a partner over there.
Okay.
Yes.
One of many.
One of his partners.
It's very 2024 Noah Forrest.
I was on tour with.
I was touring my partners. You're gonna make me puke.
We shouldn't do this and drink.
Yeah,
so
we should.
I went there a lot, and I, especially considering that Rochelle lives there, I often ask her, in your opinion, are they doing the best IPAs in Quebec? And I feel like she's been on the fence with that, but for me, I kind of.
Can I guess her answer? Did she say what?
Yeah, she said a lot of Weissesses.
Oh,
I mean, that's what French people do. Like, they just repeat that. It's like their version of stuff and everything.
Yes. Well done. Wait.
Anyway, I went there a lot. I tried the onslaught of IPAs that they've been doing. Their stouts are a little too sweet. Their lagers were okay. The IPAs can be hit and miss, but on the most part, I like what they're doing. I like that they're doing that model in a city that, aside from Noctem, but even then, they never really did it in the same way.
I would say Noctem's a different category.
Yeah.
Been around a bit longer, I guess.
They started with mostly IPAs, but it's still not the same vibe. Like, Nano Cinco's in a parking lot, just like...
True.
And yeah.
Gotcha.
But no, they're great, and I enjoy going when I go.
Hell yeah. Definitely want to check them out. I know Kevin, like you said, Matty, earlier, that Kevin Lecanet is a big champion of them. I used to... Excuse me. I buy them from Lecanet. I've had a lot of stuff and everything tonight. Kevin was definitely championing them a lot early on, and whenever I went down there, if he was saying they were fire, I definitely would listen. And obviously Max at BG, to be really coming back to earlier, Max no, stop it. Max was always like, no, he's just like, I've had enough, I can't deal with you. I just want to take a piss. I told Tiff, I was like, yo, Matt said I enjoy a lot of stuff and everything, and we are saying it non-stop. And she's like, that's great. Max was proper because I think they were contract brewing Nano's stuff to begin with, as well as EXP.
That's true. You're right.
Nate, you're making me laugh. And I thought that was really cool to see them, like a contract brewing success story. I think that's phenomenal. I love seeing those. Avant Garde was one of them. L'Espace Public was one of them. Overhop was one of them. And seeing Nano Cinco come through and make some really great high level haze that people are praising at a higher degree. I mean, when Nate was getting me some Quebec beers for this pod, they had Nano Cinco at the place he was at in Rimouski, but it was like a little bit on the older side, so I didn't want to like risk it. And I was looking forward to trying some, but I really think it needs to be like fresh from the Mood's going to have them on the pod. But I think they're doing some really cool stuff. I don't know if I even got to have anything in 2023, if I'm honest. I think a bunch of us have had like at least a brewery each in this list, because there's 4 of us combining that we maybe didn't get to try anything of. Yeah. And that was one for me. But from all accounts, I know they definitely very, very very much deserve their position on a top 10 in Quebec, and I'm excited to see what they do in 2024 for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is it time? Are we doing the brewery of the year? It's a brewery of the year.
Take your shirt off, Noah.
Noah, I want to see them nipples, buddy. I bet you got fucking like 13 hairs on each one.
I thought you were going to say 13 nipples.
Oh, yeah.
I played a show once in the Ukraine, and the guy had 3 nipples
on each breast?
You had 3 nipples?
That's a lot.
Where was the third nipple?
Ukraine. Yeah.
Where was it? In the middle?
No, it was like it was like down here.
Oh. Was it
he was proudly like not wearing a shirt.
Oh. Could you get one off to it, or was it a little hard?
No. It was hard.
Some would call it...
There was guys with guns on the side of the stage to say, you play now.
Oh, you play now.
I'm not joking.
So you and your band were on tour. You were enjoying a lot of Ukrainian stuff and everything.
Yes.
Okay. Well then.
Floated in the dead scene.
Why is it so funny? It shouldn't be that funny.
It shouldn't be
really
this funny.
shouldn't.
My chest
This
is
is
sore.
what's sad is that we haven't seen each other enough, and this is
I
how much
know,
we're
man.
Maybe.
I miss you
That's
guys.
the problem.
This is like a soulful thing. This makes me very, very happy to hang with
I
you boys.
agree. Me too.
I wish we could.
It's not Sankt Baron, but who is it? There's people that are watching this. There's two in your name in your head right now that you're imagining this is going to
Yes.
be. We'll let Noah unveil it because
Wait.
there. There it is. Mesorum Brassatorium, everyone. Hell,
Mesorum.
yes.
Number
This
one.
Particular beer has toast on it.
Oh, I got a bottle of that. Is it fire?
I
I can't wait. What do you mean,
But it's
The answer
also
is yes. Dickhead of the brewery
literally
of the year.
drinking liquid syrup, but it tastes unbelievable.
Look, we were talking and we were like, man, can we fucking make Sankiam the brewery of the year for 3 years in a row? It's kind of like people are going to be like, are you guys investors or something? And we were like, okay, well, who else could be a brewery of the year? And personally, obviously, we all know, we could all probably say why. I got to visit in August. I went through. Nate hooked me up with some Mesorum throughout the year. My friend Fred hooked me up. So I did get to try a bunch of Mesorum throughout the year, whether it's their Crispies, some Haze, some Stouts, all of the above. And I went there in August. Marc-Andre was such a fucking G. He hooked us up. So Noah, you had to leave, but he took me and Matt and Tiff and our friends on a tour, and I think some other friends. And it was just a hilarious, like, hour-and-a-half tour. I hadn't seen it all. We got to try a bunch of beer from the tank. We were just cracking it. Filion was hilarious. It was so cool to see how they'd grown. All the beers that I had were fantastic on tap there, whether it was Crispies, all the different Haze, smoothies. The food was fantastic, the way they set up the kitchen. Like, it had changed so much. And before I left in 2022, I went there for my birthday in April 2022, and I went there again before I left. It was I didn't have a car in Montreal, and it's a little hard for me to get to, but it was just, it's so cool to see them grow and continue to refine, because I feel like there was a period for Mesorum where they were a little patchy, where I was getting beers from them, and I feel like it wasn't as consistent, just like we said with Sir John. And this, in 2023... bro, the best Mesorum beers have insane. The smoothies, the crispy, and Filion was saying that the Crispies are outselling the Haze, which is even
super interesting.
But the Crispies are fucking money, bro. Like, the Crispies are so good.
They are.
Like, the Stouts are crazy. The Haze, like, I got some of this stuff from their Christmas. This is the it's called Frigorifi et Précaire. What the fuck does that mean? Bro, I'm Canadian now.
Any of the things that come out of your mouth. You just literally went
Frigorifi? You're racist,
Speaking Star Wars.
I'm not. You're the
What?
racist one. Speaking in Star Wars.
Well, I'm not Yoda. These cunts are writing Yoda,
You know,
bro. What do you want from me?
Empty light bulb. Like,
Jesus
what the fuck
Christ.
Are you doing?
Well, I'm saying is that, like, I got their Christmas shit. This is with the Christmas shit. Look, little Frosty the Snowman. Look at this cunt. Look, he's
I
chilling.
love that they did the same sort of type of artwork for Halloween with Dracula and shit. It was awesome.
Some fun stuff. But I got a couple of the Haze. I got some of the doubles, and I got some of the Stouts. And look, man, like, everything I had. I mean, Noah, I'll let you guys all speak, but, like, all I could say is that, like, going there in August, I was like, I get it. I absolutely get it. Everything I brought home, like, their Haze was phenomenal. Like, 6 weeks in. That is unheard of, bro. Like A1
and better than their Haze has been. Like I would say,
the longest time,
like a year or two prior.
100%.
There was a notable step up this past year.
It was just so impeccable. You're 100%, Nate. And I was so impressed with everything with Mesorum. And we were like, look, if we're going to come up with another brewery that's going to be as, like, maybe not as quite as diverse as Sankiam, but, like, that are just nailing everything they're doing, from Crispies, West Coast, New England, Stouts, their farmhouse barrel-aged stuff, smoothies. The merch is phenomenal. The tap room just keeps getting bigger and better. Like, the experience is, like, they were playing some classic hip hop that, like, made me so happy when I was just chilling. I was like, I could come here all the time. And I was like, I understand Noah. I get it. This is a fucking vibe, bro. Like,
Yeah, and it's up
so
the street from
impressed.
my house.
Yeah, which makes it even more convenient. And I'm just like, okay, I completely get it. And I really, truly was like, this is... They deserve it. They deserve the Brewery of the Year for 2023, for sure. I'd love to hear what you guys think in a little more in-depth, because you guys would have probably had more than me, but I had more than any Quebec brewery. I had Massorum the most in 2023, and it was not a question.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
out of all the beers that I drank in 2023, Massorum would by far be probably the most.
What?
They're my they're my local spot.
Do you
I
enjoy
go
all
there
that stuff and
often.
everything?
I do. I when I go there, I go up to the counter and I'm like, can you pour me? Can you
A
pour
lot
me
of stuff and everything.
a lot of stuff and everything.
A lot of stuff.
And then they just go behind and they get the special batch.
Ooh, the special batch.
It's just the drain bucket where like all the beers.
I'm so hard right now.
But obviously, Massorum opened up originally as, you know, a contemporary American style hazy New England IPA brewery.
Yes.
And then over time, refined their IPAs and then slowly started moving on to other things like stouts and smoothies. And I think it's when they started introducing their lagers that I truly started to like feel the respect of what they were doing, because
Yeah, it's a fair point.
giant, intense, hazy IPAs are almost the counterweight to ultra refined, clean lagers, and being able to nail both of those things was quite eye-opening. And then I'm trying to remember if it was before or after, but then they started releasing all these mixed fermentation, barrel-aged, let's call them sours, but also those were and are very refined, very subtle. They're not particularly acidic, so like it's not like you're going to like Small Pony or anything. Like they're very subtle,
sure.
and the funk is perfect. And so they have this extensive barrel program where whether it's stouts or mixed fermentation, and then they're killing IPAs, and then they're killing fucking lagers. And then this year in 2023, they finally started dipping into other styles. So they had an ESB on, and then their American brown ale, the second batch, was
Hell yeah.
fucking spectacular. I had it the other day with Filion, and like they do it on nitro, so like they do it with nitrogen, so like it pours out like a Guinness, but it's like slightly hoppy American brown ale. So it's just a matter of time, I think, in terms of them getting closer to having perhaps a slightly more diverse menu, and then I'll never need to go anywhere else.
I respect
but
it.
before anyone else speaks, the beer I'm drinking is absurd. It's in a pastry stout that's barrel aged in wild turkey at Wild Turkey barrels, which is, for those that don't know, bourbon, or is it whiskey? Anyway,
I think it's bourbon.
with bananas and cacao and vanilla and all kinds of madness, but
It's bourbon.
this beer has bananas in it.
Yeah, man.
But it's luscious, but spectacular.
I love it. Yeah, that was in their the same release as this particular one. So I got that one, and one of the other ones I had to like you go at 6:03. It went live at like 6 p.m. and I went on like at 6:03 because I wasn't going on my computer. I was just on my phone. I'm like, let me just check, and then I could still barely get anything. So I managed to get a few, and my friend picked them up and shipped them out. Killer. I got that glow in the dark label one from the release before that, like a big stout.
Right.
Which I haven't tried
That was,
yet.
I think, from the Halloween release.
I think it was, yeah. So I've been trying to get a few of them just because I kept hearing about how great the stouts were. So I don't think I had them, but I do have some, and I'm very excited to try them. The haze and the crispies, though, are just so fire.
Money.
Like I can't express. And even the Marco and Filion, when we left, he laced me with a bunch of stuff, and one of them was some of their actually 2 4-packs I think of different smoothies, and the smoothies were just fantastic. Collabs with 2 Tides from Savannah, Georgia, and some other, I can't remember the other one. I don't think the other one was a collab, but just, one was like the, red fruits, and one was like the maybe like, the yellow kind of fruits, and just the smoothies were so great. I feel like they've really refined everything. They've really like they got through their growth phase, and they got to the point of the refining phase, where like maybe they were trying to get their brand out. Like everybody knows them. They've been doing a lot of festivals in the US. People in the US, I see them talking about them all the time. Because where I'm at now, I'm in a lot of the Buffalo beer groups, and I see the Buffalo beer groups talk about them and stuff. I'm like, oh, interesting. Because they've been doing collabs with a bunch of the cats out this way, with Mortalis, which is the homies, and things like that. So like, they've really been getting out there to the right places in the States. American Solera, they were fucking with pretty heavy, with Other Half as well. Like it's been really cool to see them be embraced, because I remember, Noah, you probably remember this too, in Quebec, they were told they opened in July 2018, and I was fucking aggressively campaigning for a brewery like them for the year or so previous, because there was nothing like that in Quebec, and there were people telling them, I won't say who it was, but Filion told me that, and Vince told me that they had a particular very well regarded Quebec brewery telling them they're not going to work, they're going to fail, and obviously it was the complete opposite of that, because Quebec wasn't used to it. Quebec was so traditional and exceptionally so. Quebec had all the barrel aged stuff and farmhouse and Belgian style stuff just fucking locked. Nobody could touch it, and they didn't think there was room in the market for this. But then you saw the Quebec. I had like so many Quebec people on my Instagram and on tap that went to Vermont every weekend, and I'm not exaggerating. They went to every Foam, Burlington. You know who I'm talking about. And they're all cool people. Mm-hmm. They drink a lot of Masorum too, like going to Foam, Burlington Beer Co., all them shits every single weekend, Hill Farmstead, because they wanted to get that stuff because they couldn't get it at home, and now they're getting it home. They're still getting it down there, but they're able to, now at home, it's really a big thing. And, Masorum are at the Funk on the Water Festival there for Foam. They're really like got their footprint in the US, and I think it makes me very happy to see how many people know who they are and are excited about trying their stuff, and I just feel like it really shows what Quebec can do. I feel like they're really an exemplary Quebec brewery that if you were going to put them against the world at large, or at least North America, to send them south of the border, be like, fuck yeah, bro, that shows exactly what Quebec can do. It shows them what Canada can do, to be honest. They're in, they got to be up there again. Yeah.
Here's a question for you guys, because like BA-Canada kind of like came before Masorum, and and were brewing they were brewing the hype haze, like very much had that game on lock in Quebec before Masorum even opened their doors. What do you think it was that made people kind of so uptight about Masorum when BA-Canada had kind of already been doing that thing in the province? Was that do you think that was even just a geography thing of where they were, or do you think there was something else to it?
I think that, yes, and I think that Masorum has more of a space that can cater to holding people and having events, because the first BA-Canada was like a tiny room. No,
I never went.
Oh yeah, it's very tiny.
They were impossible to get. So Masorum being in Montreal, which was obviously the hub of Quebec, they were the first that if you went down there, you could get it. For us in Montreal, like the three of us, me, Maddie, and Noah, you guys are both there. I was there as well, and it was like damn near impossible to get. Noah, you had a plug because you were doing a lot of their photos for them and stuff, and I was like, I had no real way. I didn't own a car at the time, so it was really difficult for me to get out there. And if they went on distro, they sold out straight away. So if you weren't on social, on Experience Bière or Paluso or something, you couldn't go and get their shit. You couldn't just walk in casually and find BA-Canada. I remember paying $7.50 for their L'Aspiration Pilsner. I've been telling that story a bunch, because $7.50 for a Pilsner is one of the most insane sentences you could ever say.
Oh, and yeah.
They were that hyped.
I live like I live just across the river from them, and back in those days, it was hard to get cans of stuff even if you went right to the brewery. Like
Really, eh?
they wouldn't be able, they wouldn't be able to keep it on the shelves even there. Like you could only like for the first couple of years, if you were going even right on site, you were only getting stuff on tap most of the time, unless you went on release day.
Gotcha. Okay.
I
So
think.
it was different. No, go on, no, please.
I was going to say, to answer Nate's question from my perspective, I think I would agree with the others in the sense that location was a big component, which meant location and distribution. So yeah, like they're in Gatineau, so their stuff can't exactly get to into Montreal and stuff like that with larger numbers. Not that Storm could do that either, but you would get these sprinkles of Bas-Canada stuff in Montreal, and it was always very good. But then there were other breweries that were producing like better New England styles that we had at the time, and those were also sprinkling into the depths, but nothing like there was no like solid way of consistently getting that stuff. But even more so, I would say it was like Missouri was like a bit of a phenomenon, right? So they
Lightning
opened
in a
this,
bottle.
I agree.
yeah, like
Yeah.
this tap room style, which previous to Montreal had there only been a couple, like Four Origins did it.
Yeah.
But what Masorum did was really take that like IPA thing to the next level, right? So they're creating a brewery entirely focused on IPAs, and yeah, I think to your point, Nathan, Bas-Canada was doing that too, but they were doing it from a distance, and it didn't have the same impact.
Exclusive.
And doing it in this, even if they had done it in Ottawa, it probably would have had more of an impact. But they were doing it deep in Gatineau in a strip mall, and then Surum comes in and goes in the middle of fucking
like what's
the
the area code again? Point St. Charles.
Industrial. It's not even Point St. Charles, and it's not. It's like it's lost in a sea of.
It's on St. Patrick Street.
It's right off St. Patrick, and it just became hip overnight. I think because of the beer geeks, but then because of the community. Because when you go there now, there's barely any beer geeks.
There's no beer geeks. People
like
go there. Like my wife's friends want to go out and they want to go somewhere. They like, oh, we should go to Missouri. Why? Because everyone wants to go to Missouri. It's not because they like beer.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the patio?
It's a great,
like
cool place to go.
Huh. Okay. Is it like the
patio
food
house.
as
It's just
well?
fucking cool.
You're right. It's cool
I
as
love it.
shit.
It's
The
cool
music's
for
great.
like,
It's a vibe.
And
the summer's so good.
In the Southwest, there are cool spots now, but
Southwest is dope.
there's something special about that spot.
It's really very cool. I
It's
have
not
a
being a
warm
plateau
spot.
where you might have more things.
Mm.
I have a warm
might
spot
have
in
more
my
things,
heart
but
because
no.
I
So
met.
We're all talking to one. Sorry, Maddie, go.
I've been.
I said I have a warm.
Yeah, go,
Maddie.
Maddie.
Go for it, Nate. Go for it, Nate. No, you go.
Okay. I'm gonna go. I've been to Mesarem twice with Noah this year, and Noah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think both times we were there this year, there was a bachelor party there.
Really?
Possibly.
That's
At
dope.
least one of them.
That's cool, man.
Definitely at least one, and I think both.
That's
I love
fine.
that. It's a vibe. Sorry, Maddie, go.
I love Missouri because they're my friends. I grew up playing shows with a lot of them. I've toured with Vince across Canada, touring again.
On tour?
That's so cool. In a band?
In a band. He was in a van.
On tour?
On tour across Canada. He was a drummer, and now he's a brewer. And I met Noah. I met Noah at Missouri. That's where we met. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember that was the soft launch.
Of course I remember that.
Was I there?
No, it was just Noah.
Man, fuck you.
And the beers were green, but it was cool. And
It was
to go there and go every year, I basically did anniversary episodes with them just about every year, except for the past few. And to go back every year and get the tour in the back like we got Craig in August, and to watch my friends succeed and watch them grow and watch it get bigger and bigger. And now it's just astonishingly, astonishingly, is that a word?
Astonishingly.
Yeah.
Astonishingly big. It's freaking
A lot
incredible.
of hard words today.
It's a big word.
We're all
There's a lot of
struggling.
syllables. It's unbelievable. I remember the first time I went after, like for real, after when it was open, I was disappointed it wasn't metal. I'm okay with that now. You enjoyed all the hip hop that night, and it didn't
Thank
bother
you,
me
man.
either. I liked watching you having so much fun.
They were playing
And
classics, like
and you were like, "Do you
legit.
know this?" And I was like, "I don't know this."
I was like, don't you know my like genre that you don't
And I'm
participate in,
like,
Matt? Come
"No, I
on.
don't know it at all." But to watch people that took a mindset of being in a touring band and investing everything into their next project, which is a brewery, is astonishing. And they're succeeding and they're doing it well. Every single style they're excelling at. Why?
Yes.
Because they do not cut corners.
No.
And that's why they're number one this year. That's why they are the brewery of the year. Because they
really
did
don't.
not cut corners. They invest in the brewery and not their pockets.
Yeah.
And that's
You could
incredible.
tell. Seeing how much, like, I'd done that tour before. We've had them on the pod, obviously. We actually did a series, funnily enough. The original series went up to episode 159, then we stopped, and it was right before the pandemic, which was bad timing. And then we were like, we're going to do themed series now. And we started doing this series called Against the Grain, and Masorum was one of them. And we had 2 episodes left, which was all about like all the haze masters in Quebec who were doing it against the grain before it was cool. And we did 4 of them. Masorum was one of them, and we had Bas-Canada and Boreal to go, and both of those were after the 13th of March when lockdown happened, so then we weren't able to finish that series. Then we started this well, not this one because this is a video, but our later series. And sitting down with the boys, you know, doing the tour of whether it was that time or another time as well, and seeing from 2020 to I didn't like message him whenever I came through during the pandemic. I don't think I came through too much, but the in 2022 before I left, I went a couple of times. I was just seeing it from a customer's point of view without talking to the boys was crazy. And then, you know, obviously in August 2023 going and getting the full tour again, I was like, bro, this is like 2 to 3x what it was in the first one. And just seeing that like sprawl, that labyrinth in the back, and Filion just so casually, yeah, this is our canning section. And a whole section, it was as big as the brewing area just for canning.
It's gigantic. It's huge.
And it's air conditioned.
And it's everything.
An air conditioned room.
It was so cool, man. Honestly, like I enjoyed that night so much. That was what I wanted to see, and just to see how dope the beers were. And they were doing collabs, the other half in North Park, and getting the respect from the other haze breweries of their ilk in the industry in the States, and like, you know, I think they've been shipped out to Australia. I had my people in Australia reach out to me. I remember, I don't know if it was 2023, it could have been 2022, to get me to put them in touch with Masorum so they could import their beers to Australia so the Aussies could get it. And I think it worked out too. So just being, you know, any opportunity when Nate's able to get it, or Noah, you got some stuff for us one time and you gave it to Nate, whatever, just trying to get some, you know, Masorum stuff whenever I can. Like, it's so cool for me now to get my hands on it and to be like, yo, like, this is great. Or I'm really happy to have 4 of the same beer, like times 2, which I normally would never fucking do, as I think all of us aren't really into that. But I'm not mad at all. And this is great. They're so fantastic, and they really deserved it. It was just something a little bit different, you know, like they've perfected their haze game after, this is, you know, 5 years in 2023, July 2023 with 5 years. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Doesn't even feel like that. And, you know, just having stouts that great, and, you know, Filion was, I think I mentioned it earlier, Filion was saying that the Crispies outsell the haze, which is crazy. How the fuck is there the Crispies outselling that when they're known as a haze brewery, but their Crispies are, you know, I saw they just released like a black lager recently, and I was like, oh, I need that fucking shit because I love black lager.
Oh yeah, and it's great too.
You got it right there. Fuck.
Ton.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, their black lager was great. They canned it as part of the release, I believe, but I had it on tap a bunch of times. Like I was saying, the brown ale is amazing. It's still on, and they All their stouts, they do on nitro. All their lagers are always on a Lucre tap. The only thing that I need them to do is to stop only using brandy snifters. Like, they need to expand their glassware to
Make it
have
larger.
a lager fucking glass. No, like
Yeah,
a
like
lager
a-
glass, like a Stein.
Well, they have.
Yeah,
They at the very least have the stanges, like the tubes.
Yeah, for the
That's pretty.
for
That's
the
pretty
Kolsch.
solid. That's pretty solid, crispy glassware.
Maybe some a
The
bit
tube? What do you mean?
larger, like the Kolsch
Tall, skinny
glassware,
ones there. Yeah.
tall skinny joints.
Yeah.
they don't serve those though. There.
Oh, okay. But I mean, they do sell them. Maybe they don't serve in them though.
Oh yeah. They sell an array of glassware, which is awesome. But
A vast
they don't-
array, some
they
might say.
only ever serve on a traditional brandy snifter.
I know what you're talking about, the little round one or whatever.
Okay.
Like if
Okay,
I'm gonna
yeah,
go in
I'm-
and I want to
yeah,
have two or
I'm
three
with you on
lagers,
that.
I want to drink it out of a Stein, you know. Or,
Yeah, I totally get you.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
But they were a very deserving brewery. I feel like it was a bit of a switch up from Sankt Baron for the last couple of years, and it wasn't.
I feel like in the chat as we were like
it wasn't a difficult
asking
decision.
this question, where it was like, I think it should be Masorum, and all of you guys were like, yes.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't like much
Yep.
of a question. We all knew that Noah wanted Nosorum anyway, and for Matt, Nate, and I, we were just like, look, if it's not Sankt Baron, Masorum have really but in all, aside from the Catch, which was a new brewery to me, so they're very much in this conversation for next year, for 2024 or this year. Masorum deserved it. They truly, truly deserved it, and they're just a spectacular example of what Canadian craft beer is. And look, I know, Maddie, you toured because you're in a band, right? Yeah,
I
you're in a
toured.
band?
You know that I when I was in
heard that.
San Diego,
Okay,
Filion and
and
Chapu
Vincent,
came to my show
What's
because they
the
were
show?
there in San Diego doing a collab with North Park.
oh,
And when I
what's
was
the
in
show?
Seattle, Vince and the brewer, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, I was trying to remember as we were going
Gary.
through this next- I was going to. It's not.
It's not.
I was going to tell this story. They came to my show in Seattle because they were there for the Yakima Hops picking cycle. So yes, about touring. Yes, I love them. Yes, I like a lot of things and stuff.
It's nearly 3 hours. That's why we're
Harry.
getting a bit messy. I like that you got to see them in the States. Is cool. I had a whole point. What was it
Gab,
saying?
by the way.
It's Gab. Yeah,
cut
Gab,
you off.
Gab.
I'm sorry.
No,
It is
you
Gab.
didn't.
Sorry,
What
Gab.
was it saying though? There was like an actual genuine, like, not lols based point. I traveled in 2023. Like in from the pandemic, I didn't do much. We were fucking dealing with moving here and all this bullshit. So in 2023, I traveled the most, at least in the States. I went to the States a lot, and the one thing I came back with was like, everywhere I went in the States, for the most part, aside from maybe like Virginia and North Carolina, was like, we got a better at home. Badlands, Third Moon, Masorum, a better.
It's awesome.
Bruski, a better. And
I agree. Same.
I hold that so true. Like, I am so fucking proud of Canadian craft beer, bro. Like, I mean that for real. Like,
Yeah.
everywhere I go, I think the American stuff is great. Fidens are probably the best haze brewery in the world, I think. But aside from them, everywhere, there was some, I discovered, Burial and Resident Culture in North Carolina, and, there's a bunch of phenomenal breweries in really everywhere you go, as you know, Matt, because you're on tour. But
Yes.
what we
I'll be
have at
Copenhagen soon. Yeah, but
you've been okay, amazing, on tour, which is great. So go check cryptopsy.com, cryptopsy, get it, fucking .com,
.ca, please, but-
.ca, exactly. And
Slash
I just,
tour.
sorry guys, sorry guys.
Slash tour.
slash tour forward slash
Actually,
tour.
voxandhops.com/Europe.
Yeah,
That's the
well,
next one.
whatever. It's all the same thing. Make sure you go follow, subscribe. You know the
Dot
vibe.
stuff and everything.
Exactly. Enjoy the stuff and everything.
There'll be tickets and stuff and everything.
You can go get maybe. Can you make a T-shirt? This is I enjoy stuff and everything. Just have you on the back.
Making that quote though.
Oh my god, it's amazing. And just seeing the crazy shit we have in Canada, like, whatever, whether it's BC, Ontario, Quebec, and everywhere in between, like, we're here talking tonight about Quebec, and I just feel like, bro, like we're fucking. If you weren't able to travel to go anywhere and you were only getting the stuff locally, you have nothing to be worried about here in Canada, bro. Like you're not lacking anything. You're not missing anything. There's some fun. It's fun to explore, like whether it's good, bad, or whatever. The idea is exploring, and that in and of itself is fun, right? Cool. But the end result, I don't think anywhere in the world is doing this stuff better than Canada. Dead ass.
We've got it fucking good here.
We have so good, dude. And I think it's like over the pandemic when people had a little more quiet time to figure it the fuck out and drill it down, whether it's Third Moon, Badlands, Willowbold, Counterpart, Meso, Bar-Canada, Sankt fucking Bruski, Godspeed, Silo, all that, Nano Cinco, BG, Tooth and Nail. Like, this is so many incredible breweries that, like, you're never going to get tired of it, and you're never going to be like, you'll want something else, but this shit here at home in our own backyard is going to scratch that itch for you more than anything else. And it's we should be very proud and very, very satisfied. And I'm super stoked for everything that's happening in Quebec. And it's just so beautiful to see. It's just, man, what a time. What a weird fucking time to be alive. So many strange things are happening. But if you want to be a bit more relaxed and just be like, look at craft beer, like, whilst maybe there's so many other problems with taxes, with the Gen Z dickheads not drinking enough, drink more, all the, people drinking more seltzers, ready to drink, RTDs, whatever. When it comes to craft beer, like, Meso are an example that Canada, not just Quebec, like Canada can be proud of and be like, this is some of the best stuff on the planet. Hands down.
Yeah, for sure.
Not,
Well said.
No question.
Not questioning it at all. It's beautiful. So yeah.
Even if you just look, if you look back at the last few years or the last decade when it comes to craft beer, and how it's constantly in a flux and it's constantly changing, and what people want keep changing, the world keeps changing, and people's finances change, and prices keep going up. Blah 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 blah. But at the same time, it's really interesting to look at like how it's gone. It went from not being able to get a half decent IPA to be able to get a world or
no, world class. Say it.
top quality at your
It's world class.
Exactly.
It's truly world class. You're not exaggerating.
It is. Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry, but I don't want to cut you off, but I wanted to just confirm.
No, and then that was kind of like the long and the short of it, in the sense of like we're at a point now where FOMO. I think when it comes to beer, there's no reason for FOMO unless like your best friend is going to visit Belgium in the Seine region, and then like go to Cantillon or something, like other like of course I would like to go to Other Half or Trillium or whatever, but at the end of the day, like it's not gonna reshape my notion of beer when I have Mesorum up the street.
Yeah,
no,
it's going to be another IPA.
Absolutely.
Great.
I think FOMO's not. There's that's a cool thing about what's happening is that these breweries are so consistent at this point, especially Mesorum, is that if you miss a drop, the next drop is going to be just as good, if not better.
100%.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't even like remotely enter my mind that I need to try whatever beer from them, because I'll just try the next one. I don't care.
Exactly.
There's always going to be
That's
cool.
cool.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
That's such a good point.
It was a myth that I'm going to miss something, but now the breweries are so consistent, especially the good ones, that they got us.
It's so cool.
And honestly, like it's kind of how they kind of ruined it in and of themselves, in the sense that like if you produce 9 beers a week, I ain't gonna worry about missing out on anything anymore.
You get whatever doesn't sell, you'll turn up the next day and you'd be like, well, it's on draft, and some of them are left on cans, so.
And now they're distributing a lot, which is cool.
Yeah,
which
I do love.
Interesting, and is another discussion.
So then it's a case of. So you're saying that I can get this without waiting 9 hours in line and needing to be there at 7:00 in the morning.
Correct. I'm in a band.
Which
People
these
wait in
days
line
is
to see
insane.
me.
That's
On
it.
tour, which is amazing. They can enjoy all the
promise I
stuff and
didn't-
everything.
I promise I didn't set him up for that.
I'm still
It's
with you
legit.
for all these beer. That's good. That's good.
I know, right? Look at that, 3 hours in. No, it's a beautiful thing. It truly, truly is. It's like we're so fortunate. I remember going. I don't want to say the brewery I went to, but I went straight to a brewery in February in 2023. The first time I traveled to the States in a while, and I went straight to a brewery and I was like, I drank the beer, and it was just a high haze brewery, and I was like, Badlands is better. And everywhere else I went, I was like, Third Moon is better, and Masorum's better. And it's,
Yep.
it's fun to explore once again, but like I just don't want people to worry about that more than what you can get at home.
Yeah.
And
It's
if
true.
you're in Ontario and you want to get some Quebec stuff, it's a
And
lot
there was
easier.
a time where that wasn't the case.
It
That's true.
Absolutely.
was. No, you're right, dude.
Absolutely.
And that was the point, though,
It's-
because all the people used to travel to do that, and now we have it all in our backyard to the point of like, do you guys remember, Maddie, you weren't there, but Noah and Nate, you remember we were on Chinwag at some point, and Bebo jumped on, and we were like
Yeah.
talking about haze, and Bebo was like, I get haze from everywhere in the world at all times because he's from Chicago and he's obviously the guy behind Third Moon, so people bring him more than more beers than any of us would ever get, and he's like, the best haze in the world is Badlands. And I felt like that was an interesting comment from the guy making in that same, haze in the same conversation. And I feel like Masorum obviously is in that conversation. And those guys obviously have all collabed a bunch together, all of them. It's just dope to see. And it's dope to see, like, after 5 years, this is they'll be turning 6 in July, Masorum, and just seeing how they're going strength to strength and improving in their barrel aged stuff and their farmhouse stuff and their haze and their crispies. Crispies becoming the biggest seller is like, would you have put that on your 2023, 2024 bingo card? No chance.
No, that's bananas.
It's so cool, man. Like,
It's because
it's so dope.
I would imagine it's because it's been 6 years, 5 years they're alive. And a typical craft beer nerd's journey starts with haze. Starts with the sugar
these
rush
days,
of haze, and then you get to a certain point where you're just freaking done with that, and you want to drink crispy, light beers.
We've all
And
been
I think
there.
that their clientele has been growing with them, which is interesting.
That's a really good point, man. And the clientele's growing with them because there were like people like the four of us who got into beer in the color wheel times: blonde ale, amber, nut brown, porter, stout, IPA, West Coast IPA. Then there was the Belgian stuff, and then all of a sudden in 2015, 16, 17, there's the haze, and then you go down the road there, then like things like smoothies and all this shit came about, and a lot of people coming into craft beer in the last few years get exposed to hazy IPAs, smoothie sours, pastry stouts. They don't
Sweet
sugar. They don't know what a high quality pilsner is or whatever. So maybe because they're already, in love with Masorum, they like the branding. So then they're like, well, if my favorite brewery is doing these, these lagers and whatever, then let's give them a try. Then they get sold on lagers, and all of a sudden you get this depth to your craft beer knowledge, and
it's like any rabbit hole you fall down. Like if you fall down like a rap or metal rabbit hole, you like metal, let's say, you're like, oh, I like Slipknot. What is Slipknot? The Slipknot is like
inspired
macro.
by X.
Slipknot's
macro.
like, and then you go down the rabbit hole of like more and more extreme, more and more craft. So hazies and sweet stouts and smoothies are that mass appeal thing, and then you become more and more refined and like, I'm a true metalhead. I like blah blah blah. I'm a true metalhead. I'm a true craft beer enthusiast. Sorry, I drink pilsners now. I drink lagers. Oh, you're still on the haze. Oh, you'll get there.
I got an idea for a video from my other hip hop stuff, and it's exactly on that. I'll talk to you about that off air because that's such a great comparison. Because I always wondered because in hip hop there's like commercial nonsense and it's getting to
gateway stuff.
No, there's gateway, but there's nonsense, and the nonsense is getting to a level where like I want to cut my throat. And I'm like, I wonder if other genres of music have the same level of like, oh, I want to kill myself because this is so bad. So like,
Yes, but as long as they come in the gates and they fall down the rabbit hole, we could pick up the stragglers that fall deep enough.
okay, so it's a separate conversation. But I feel like with craft beer, it's a little more straight and narrow. I feel like with rap, it's a bit weird. Maybe with metal, it sounds more straightforward. With beer, it feels like you bring him in on this hazy, fun-looking stuff, and then you get him on the other side, and that's when you. Yeah, man. I feel like there's like other ones. There's a straight up gateway breweries where might just do the maybe like a basic blonde or a pilsner or an amber and bring people in that way. But then you've got the other side, which are the hype breweries that still bring a lot of new people in because their friends. If you got a hype friend who's into all that, be like, yo man, come drink this shit with me. And they'll be like, all right, fine, let me see what this is about. And you're like,
then you show up at Masorum on that patio when it's fucking banging on.
When it's banging, they're playing like Nas from like 1994, and then they're drinking beers that look like fucking milk, yellow milk, and they're like, what is happening? Why is everyone jamming? Why is there cool dogs everywhere and everyone's eating tacos? And it's a vibe, bro. It was. I'm really glad I got to experience it. Honestly, it was one of my favorite things of this year. Going back to Montreal was so fucking dope. I'm very grateful. I'm looking forward to going back this year and seeing it. It's just one of the coolest cities in the world, and Quebec
comes to you too.
We miss you.
Yes, we miss you guys. There is a spare bedroom, and obviously that's where Tiff's gonna sleep because you're sleeping in a bed with me.
I was gonna say, like, I want to be in between you and Tiff.
No.
Noah had mentioned we wrapped up the top 10. Noah had mentioned honorable mention. He wanted.
Yes, he did.
God,
yes,
Matt.
Did.
See, this is why Matt is the GOAT.
I hate when I remind or ask people to remind me of something and I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I believe in you, I believe in you, Noah. I believe in you.
Oh, Wills is what I'm.
Will,
yeah.
wait.
Okay.
I concur with that.
I got some
didn't
thoughts.
have all that much to say, but I did go to one of their early parties, and
They had the Hill Farmstead on tap,
and
right?
Chris ended up showing up there.
Yes,
Chris
and Kevin.
from Hops and
Chris from
Bros,
Hops and Bros / Thank you.
Hops and Bros is still a thing.
It's not.
Right, so it's from Sankham.
Shouts, Chris. Shouts, Chris.
Yeah, Kevin was there too. Anyway, it was a lovely night and interesting spot. Like just such a unique tap room that I can't even the bar itself. Like I can't even describe.
Did you ever go to Dude, did you ever go to Alexanderplatz?
No.
Oh
No, I
my
know that
god!
name. How do I not? I know. that
Okay,
name.
can I talk about this? Because this is my shit. I'm the fucking Myland guy, bro. No, I lived in Myland for 10 fucking years. Okay, let me talk about this shit. This is my favorite shit in the world. So, Alexanderplatz, you guys familiar, in Berlin, right? The city center, the Young and Dundas Square, like in Toronto, is called Alexanderplatz. It's got that big TV tower. It's a big tower with a big ball on the top, kind of like the CN Tower, right?
Yes.
So there was a brewery called, it's like Brasserie BVM. I don't know what it stood for. Brasserie de Vieux-Montréal. And they sucked fat cock. And there was these people that took the tap room there that wasn't a real tap room, but they took a space and they created a tap room every summer, and it was called Alexandraplatz as opposed to Alexanderplatz. And what they did was had the BVM beers, but they were like a blonde, a West Coast IPA, and something else. And then they imported stuff. They got like Dunham, Le Castor, like all this. I'm talking 2014. I was going there. And like 10 years ago, it was such a big part of my Montreal time. This is why I'm extra passionate about it. And they would have all these picnic tables outside. They would have DJs. They would have food. It was a vibe. It was the best. So we went every year. And then they would sometimes block off the whole street. It was Mile X. So not Mile End, not Park X, Mile X in between. Just before, south of Jean Talon, west of Saint Laurent in there. Yep. No, east of Park. No, sorry. East of Park, west of Saint Laurent. In the middle. Exactly. In like the dish, like it was like lofts and stuff like that. So it was super, super dope. And then all of a sudden, basically the long story I think was that the BVM brewery didn't like the people who ran Alexanderplatz, they bringing in beer. They were brought in L'Espace beers. They brought in beers like really good stuff, like great Quebec beers eventually. In 2014, it wasn't so great, but as time went on, they started bringing in good beers, and it didn't happen during the winter. It was just during the summer. And Rooney's in the building, and then
There's Rooney.
they started doing the BVM guys didn't like that they were bringing in stuff, so they basically kind of shut it down. Then essentially, because we hung out in that same August trip, that 2 fucking days I was in Montreal, we did a lot. So we hung out with Alex and Ethan from Wills. So we went down after going to Boreal because it's all in the area, and I went to Melon afterwards. And Alex I'd been talking to because I heard about it, and because of Alex, who's such a champion, he put us in touch with Sean Hill from Hill Farmstead. We hung out with Sean Hill for like 2 hours at Hill Farmstead, and we just talk shit. He's a fucking champion. Like, he's a legit genius. I understand. I get him now. Like, he's a probably on the spectrum type of genius. Like, he's fucking, I get it. It was such a welcoming, cool guy. We had a fantastic convo, and it was all because of Alex from Will. So Ethan used to own Larry's, which was Lawrence, and Lawrence, a Boucherie Lawrence as well, which was in our area. So we used to go there. There was a butcher, a bar, a restaurant called Lawrence, and a small little tapas bar / cafe called Larry's. So Ethan sold his shares in that and then invested in Wills with Alex, whose name is Alex Wills. And they took over the BVM space. So they must have sold that BVM space. They built it out. It's super beautiful. They got some real clean designs. They're doing some beers that were designed in part by Sean Hill from Hill Farmstead. He's really helped them. Hence that release party you were talking about, Noah, that they had the Hill Farmstead beers at. Really impressed, Nate. We have to get him on. But Alex is such a G, and they did some really, really fun stuff in 2023. They opened, I think, early-ish, maybe like April-ish, something like that, I think.
I think so, yeah.
So, like, they're doing some really fun stuff, and I honestly, Noah, that's a fantastic nod to a brewery that could be on our top 10 in 2024. If they go the way that they were going, the beers that I tried, and I tried all of the first 5 beers, my friend Fred got me, and then when I went there, I drank a bunch of the beers when we hung out, and they're even getting better, so I imagine things are only getting better over time, and they could really be a contender. Doing some really fun stuff.
I agree. I hope that I feel like they've sort of petered off on the socials game, and that's something that in this modern era you cannot do, sadly. You have
That's a
to
good point.
continuously promote yourself, and I feel like they have not been doing that. And with the climate of what's happening in craft beer in Quebec, I am worried about them. I hope that they're okay. I like their beers. I like the space. It's close to my house. It's not too far. I have been going. I have been supporting, but I would like to see more social engagement to make sure that other people know that they're as good as they are, because they are very good.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. It's got to be rough, but I hope they are getting the love that they deserve, because they got a lot of space to expand into, so they've like got themselves a space with the aim for growth, and I hope that they're putting themselves in a position to be able to grow, and that they're distributing and selling the stuff out. But from what I had early on, that
beers are great. The crispy was great. The haze is great. They distribute like close to my house, even not at La Canette, but to unconventional craft beer stores, which when you're a craft beer enthusiast, you find yourself in sometimes. And I buy Wills there.
Hell yeah. However you can get your hands on it.
Other honorable mentions. Who else has another honorable mention?
Did anyone have... This is one brewery there's always been an honorable mention for me, but I didn't have any of their beers in 2023. It was Silo. Did anyone have any Silo beers? Because they were always such a fave for me.
I always enjoy a few Crispies from them all the time. Ran by another genius, another very special...
JP. Shouts to JP.
JP, genius. Super fucking smart dude. He also runs Beera. How he does both of them and keeps them running, I don't know. But
his fiance does Beera, if I'm not understanding. We know her name is. She's great.
She is great. But awesome. I love them. I do agree that they are a top contender, but when we're 4 people putting together a list,
hard.
it's tough.
Yeah. They got like 4 or 5 Luca taps as well, and they do some crazy stuff. So I went there before I left in 2022. And I think they've always been on my personal list every year for this, but this was 2023 was just the first year. They were a place I wanted to get down to when I was in Montreal, but I ran out of time. So it was,
they're a place that that are on my list where, like, for the next time that I go to Montreal. I've been talking to Noah about the fact that like the last 2 times I've gone to see him there, we've gone to we've gone to Messarem and we've gone to Bruski, and we've been saying the next time I come down we need to branch out a little bit. So
yeah,
like maybe we need to go to Melon, we need to go to Silo, I think.
Yeah, honestly, it was one of my favorite experiences. I went for my birthday in 2022, and it was because I went to Silo first, and I went to Messarem, and it was just so sick. I loved it so much, bro. Like, just the Maliko pause and all the fun stuff. It's basically the Godspeed of Quebec. It's just so fucking good.
Yeah.
They would probably be one of the main ones that I would think of. I can't think of anything else aggressively. I mean, I really enjoyed Harricana. I went there a few times before I left in 2022. They had some incredible Crispies. Their Crispies in Harricana were really what I would report back about, but I don't know enough about what they're doing. Them in Ildegard. So that whole area, like Maddie's whole area.
My area.
Yeah, your area's popping, dude.
It's popping. It's unbelievable that I bought here and live here, and then I became a craft beer nerd. It must be. I think that might be a big part of it. I took my first photo shoot and my first video at Harricana. It's ingrained in me.
It's a beautiful place.
Them. I'll give an honorable mention. I have 2 for sure. Mutoid. I say it every year.
Yes.
They make great fucking beer. Like Crusher beers, the same way as Melon, but with a much more metal attitude. It is heavily inspired by True Brewing from Denver, which is probably one of the coolest metal bars in the world, which I saw when I was on tour. And Mutoid is definitely the Jean-Michel, the brewer, is a phenomenal brewer. Like light, crushable beers, very, very enjoyable. And then my second one is probably a bit controversial, is Boreal with the Le Relais, and I'm giving
I don't think it's controversial.
To Gab.
I don't think so either.
Just crushing it with his experimental brew system that he's built at the Le Relais here in Montreal. He's been just making whatever he wants and just having fun. It's very cool that Boreal has given him that free reign, but he did invent Boreal du Nord-Est in his garage.
Which is crazy.
You know what I mean? And it like basically took over a whole scene. It was like the right beer at the right time type situation.
Okay.
So definitely Boreal Le Relais is I think they're interesting. I've drank a bunch of their episode beers, and a lot of those episode beers are stemmed from recipes from that place.
Ah, okay. That's very, very dope. Noah's just dipped out because he wasn't able to unmute himself to respond. Those are great ones. I'd like to add L'Espace Public to
Yes, of course.
to that. L'Espace have been a brewery that, funnily enough, in 2017, I met Noah in person at L'Espace for the Grand Guignol, the collab with Wild Shack.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Yep, you're in
Yeah, there you are.
Do you remember when it was me, Tiff, and our neighbor Stefan, who's a friend of ours? We were there and we were drinking the New England IPA that Wild Shack did, and then you and Remy and Max turned up and we got to meet in person. That was the first time. I'll very much remember that. And Simo,
it was like the best New England that had existed in the province.
Easily. It was and you know what? I drank like 3 pints of it, and then you guys rocked up and Remy and Max were like, oh, they only have half a pint left.
Yeah, so I got a 1 sip.
Yeah, which was nothing. So it was brilliant. I mean, I don't, at the time, at least 2017, I think it was Hayes. And either way, it was great. And Simo is just the man, bro. Like, I love Simon. He's just one of the realest motherfuckers. He's from Burlington up the road here. And I just love Simo, man. He came and met me at like I said earlier, at Milan. And
he's a good dude. He's a good
Do
dude.
you know what the funny thing? So Simo never leaves Hochelaga. And he was like, yo, I'm out here in like what's it called? Rosemere? What's the area called?
Rosemont.
Rosemont, and he was like, "Yo, there's a world outside of Hochelaga. Like, what the fuck?" He was tripping balls because he never left, and he came out for me, and I was like, I fucking love this guy, bro. Like, Simo is such the man, and I just feel like what L'espace has been doing are just so underrated. They just hit their decade in 2023, their 10 years. They got their Usine, their second location, not too far from the original, which is just a vibe. I always have, if you're going to Montreal, you want a brew pub, you want a brewery, go to a couple places. You want a fucking party, you fucking go to L'Espace Public.
Yeah,
the pub.
Yeah,
the pub on Ontario. It's a vibe.
You've taken me to L'Espace a couple of times. That is like you go there if you're ready to go hard.
Yeah. Every time I nearly vomit. It's insane. The night that Nate, you and Chris came down and we had the launch of the first collab, the Billet de Vacances, which was called Dreamsicle at the time. Like, I nearly puked. That night ruined my whole week, and that was the what's it called, the Mondial week. I had mad podcasts and shit. Fucked me up all week because they kept refilling the pints, and you didn't know how much you were drinking because they take the pint and they'd be like, "Let me refill that for you." I'm like, oh Jesus Christ.
And you know what, man? Both times that I've been there with you have been times that I've been driving, because the first time, because that time, I was driving Chris back to Ottawa that night, and then the next time that we've been there was the time for the Blood Brothers collab when we had done a whole rip around Montreal, and I was driving you and Tiff around, and I'm sitting there with my rice lager, like my 1 pint of rice lager after we've already done this tour all day, and I'm like, can we fucking get back to your apartment now so that I can fucking drink? Jesus Christ.
And then do a whole podcast after that. It was
oh my god, yes. And and you and Simo were fucking lit at that time, and and the Blood Brothers dudes were the dude were there, and like everyone was having a grand old time, and like fucking angry Nate's just sitting here and be like, all right.
I didn't take it as you were angry. I thought
Nate.
You were very friendly.
Fuck.
Angry Nate is still friendly.
You're not into stuff and everything.
He's not into stuff and everything at all.
What was my alter Larry?
Larry. That's the alter ego.
Was out that night. That's what it was.
Oh, Larry came through. He was ready to do the R wording. He was ready to go.
I'm just kidding. I wasn't angry. It was just an interesting vibe, because it would have been one of those things of like, it would have been so much more appropriate if I could have had like 3 or 4 more beers in me at that point to be hanging out with the dudes from Blood Brothers and and you guys in Simo and everything. It just felt a little out of place was all. Just to be sober enough to drive at that point.
I feel that. We end up doing episode 159 that night of that original podcast series, and we're coming up to 159 of the new podcast series. So that means we're at like 300 and something, probably 318 in the next couple of weeks of that, because I was before when we did it in person to when we started doing the virtual stuff. But yeah, man, L'Espace is a vibe. Like, exactly why you don't want to be ever driving going to L'Espace, because you never know what could happen. It's just a cool vibe, and Montreal is one of the best beer cities, I think, in the country. Quebec is just an exceptional scene. Everything you want is there. It's kind of almost always been that way, and since sort of Foursome came on the scene, hence why they deserve the Brewery of the Year for 2023, things really changed, and it's just an exciting place, man. It's like 2024. I'm stoked to see what's going to happen, man. It's a beautiful thing.
We'll see. It's really very, very cool, because Will's was that like mystical, it's coming brewery that we all heard about. So it's exciting to see what's going to come up in the next few years, and who survives.
And Foursome was that when they were coming out too.
They were, and who survives? And look, I hope it's the vast majority, and I hope people are able to push through to get just to stay afloat. While we have this downturn, obviously historically, if you look at the Rooney, relax, buddy. Kiddies, fuck, I tell you.
Sir, just go out of the screen.
He's just like, man, fuck y'all. He goes, no. He says, Dad, eat my dick. I'm out. I'm gone. I'm tired of your shit, you stupid beanie. I'm tired of it.
New generation that doesn't like beer.
Beanie is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like, give me a White Claw, Dad. Ugh. Yeah, I get it. So it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like just like shout outs Quebec, period, man. Like I'm excited to drink as much Quebec beer as possible in 2024, and I basically put the entire burden of that on you, Nathaniel. All of it is on you.
I'm on it.
Okay.
I'm on it. Don't worry.
I knew you wouldn't fuck me. I knew you wouldn't fuck me. But I want to interview more Quebec breweries in 2024. I know we got a bunch booked up, but I want to definitely do a bunch more there. It's just an exciting place to be, and everyone we mentioned tonight, we're just doing some phenomenal stuff, man. Like, and how it was difficult. There was a whole bunch that didn't make it from all four of us. We had different ones that didn't, make it into the top 10 because we had to just, like we were explaining earlier, just by sheer mathematics of it, who could make it. So there's just so many great things. This was just between four people of the breweries that we happen to have. And, if you're trying to you're going to visit Quebec, man, there's so much stuff you can have. It's a great time to be into craft beer, and we want to keep as many of these breweries alive and thriving, not just getting by, surviving, but thriving as possible. So
drink beer, people.
Drink beer.
Forget your responsibilities. And drink lots of beer irresponsibly, and let them all thrive.
Matthew used to be a teach children, and he's saying drink beer irresponsibly.
Only 3 days a week now. But.
Well, it's okay. And now you're in a touring Did everyone know that Matt's in a metal?
I am in a metal band. I'm an extreme death metal vocalist.
Oh, okay.
But he's never gone on tour.
You've been on tour?
I have gone on tour. Twice, 3 times this year.
Oh.
I'm leaving.
Get the fuck out of here!
6 weeks.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Where can everyone find the tour dates?
You could definitely go to vox&hops.com/Europe.
Just Europe.
Yes, because I'm going to Europe.
You're going to? Oh, are you going to bring beer back for us?
Probably not, because flying is expensive and luggage sucks.
No, that's true, but I'm going to say that you actually hooked me up with some of the best beer I'd had in a while. Thank you for that burial bottle. That was amazing because I was sick over Christmas.
That's a huge shout out to my very, very good friend, my beer geek friend that I love very dearly, that hooked you up with that through me.
I'm going to give that person a kiss on the cheek.
Brad's the best. Brad Greyer, just the best.
Oh, big ups, Braddles. That was spectacular. It's just look, guys, this was awesome. Easily, this one is one of my favorite pieces of content to make all year. I love this so much. I look forward to it every year. Can we just let's just keep doing this. 4 of us, this is extra fun now. I love it, man.
Welcome to the group. We're in trouble now, Nate.
Yes, welcome, Nate.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a genuine pleasure to be here, and I want to be in again next year. I insist on it. I don't care if you fucking hated having me here.
No, it was wonderful. We kept forgetting you, but you did a good job introducing yourself.
I just need to be more forceful. I need to insert myself in the conversation more.
Like, just basically, this is the conversation. This is you. Just insert. Just right in there aggressively. You know what I'm saying? Force it in. Don't hold back. Just take all that stuff and everything. Spit on it. In there. Throw it right on in. If anyone knows, it's no.
We all consensually agreed.
Oh my god, that got so graphic. My god.
Yeah. Are you guys hot, or is it just me, or is it Noah?
Let's do a cheers.
I'm more
okay.
Than hard, but
beer in our hand.
Yes. Can we take let's take a little screenshot just in case I need it. I don't even know if we're gonna need it, but let's just hold some stuff.
I won't need it, but it's wholesome content.
You keep on having us do these screenshots on BAOS. Do they ever get used for anything anymore?
Do you know what, Nathaniel? If you checked BAOSpodcast.com, you check the blog, and you'd see that every blog has one of these screenshots. You fuck piece of shit.
See how he
doesn't even know it.
Doesn't even open your emails.
I read all your emails, Matthew, every single time. So let's wrap this up.
It? Like, we didn't even have a. You just.
I took it.
Took it like you didn't give a shit what we were doing.
No, you would look good, bro. Let me check it. Don't be a fuck.
I think I was like mid. No.
You were. Your face is the funniest. I'm keeping it for sure. All right. Okay.
He has a stopper for this beer. That's how much of
an experience. That's how drunk Noah is. Noah is fucked up, guys. Noah is fucked.
It's the skull too.
I have one of those ones, but not a skull. But I got the one with the little jabby thing. Let's go.
Oh, that's cool. See, I use that, but I just keep it in my drawer and finish it.
All right. Yeah, I put that in different places than a
Small
beer
decision.
bottle. If you know what I'm saying, Matthew,
Yeah,
where
I
can
was gonna
everybody
say,
find
are you just sticking your plugs in your beer bottle there?
earplugs
my
or
plugs?
Your stretches.
I mean, I
just-
skipped. Never mind. Move
make
I
along.
got a
Go back.
great hemorrhoid doctor here if you need one. Matt, where can everyone find you online, brother?
No, I use lube.
Oh, yes, go to, you want to find Vox and Hops, you go to www.voxandhops.com. That's VOXAND. I remember how to do this.
HOPS.com.
HOPS.com. Thank you so
/Europe.
much. /Europe is for the tour dates. Cryptopsy is cryptopsy.ca. Go check it out. I scream like an animal. I enjoy some craft beer.
I scream like an animal. Nathaniel.
Bite the heads off salamanders.
Only when no one's looking. The vegan doesn't like the salamanders.
Yeah, he eats some seitan. All right, go on, Nate.
I
Where can
eat
everyone find you?
seitan. I love the seitan.
Oh, I'll eat your seitan if you know what I'm saying.
I had seitan today, but
I bet you did. I bet you had seitan all in your mouth, didn't you?
it was in my chicken noodle soup. That was
Oh
lunch.
yeah, fuck yeah. it
Okay,
wasn't chicken
Nathan,
at all.
where can we find you?
Where can we find you online, Nathaniel?
All the is at Nathan Does Beer.
Oh yeah, it's at NathanDoesBeer.com. Is it? Answer me.
What's that?
Mr. Beer.
Is it NathanDoesBeer.com?
Yeah, stop
NathanDoesBeer.com.
fucking whispering. I mean, NathanDoesBeer.com. NathanDoesBeer.com is where is where the blogs are at, which has been kind of silent for the last couple of years, but it's about
It's
to
about
pick
not
up
to
again
be. It's about to be not to be.
Very-
Not to be not to
very
be.
shortly. You know what? By the time this episode drops, there will be something new on there.
Oh, you're damn fucking right. It will be. You're damn fucking right. You're damn fucking right. Noah Gallicus Forrest. Tell us.
How did you know my middle name?
I looked you up.
You can find me
Noah
on
Tormund Giant.
whatever Beerism
Forrest.
platforms still exist. Because I think my website's domain did not get renewed recently.
Oh,
so
no, really?
I would say Instagram. Yeah, I gotta figure that out.
What's your
shit.
grinder?
It's been a slow year.
Handle.
Well, that's at beer in him, not beer is him.
God damn.
And it's like bottle dildo porn stuff, but you don't really want to know.
Do you know how popular you'd be for craft beer people if you started putting these things in people?
And then opened it up, and they got
Why
them to
do you think
spit
I'm
it
not
out of their
already putting these
butthole
things in?
into a bottle, into a can, into a glass, and then be like, yeah. Okay, you can get us at BAOS podcast everywhere. Lots happening. Lots of great stuff happening in 2024. Lots of great stuff in Ontario and Quebec beer, which is mostly what we're focusing on. A little bit outside. Maddie is just taking us to a whole new level.
Really hitting that.
Matt
You're,
has-
like just really committing to the bit there.
Matt has 2 children.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And I don't know how loose the people you hang out with are, but that like is just such a subtle way of
Yeah, it was like a little bit easy. I'm
entering
like,
something into someone, right? Like there was no effort there. It was. Just
I feel like
it was just,
They already had a few in them.
how big is the orifice that you were putting that thing into?
this is out of control. I just want to sincerely apologize to
Yeah, wow,
everybody watching
this
and
was
listening.
bad. Sorry.
This was brilliant. I love you all. We all love you all. We'll see you in 2025, I guess, because for 2024 or some shit. Love you. Get in ya.